Good evening. It's me, DjDoubleT, here with a take two because I didn't realize I was muted, and I am sorry for my last stream also because apparently for the last hour I was muted. Also, that was embarrassing. Uh,
Womp womp.
okay, it's happened twice in my career of a streamer so far. One time when I was playing Ghostwire Tokyo, where I think I went through like the first 3 hours just muted. Actually,
Oh,
no,
jeez.
the whole stream I was muted, and I was so embarrassed when that happened.
DJ.
Yeah, but we're here with our usual Thursday program. Well, now currently, I guess, because we're doing back with the Minecraft series. I'm here with Chaos, if no one could tell, and it's a stream where we play Minecraft, we talk about topics, and if you want to engage in conversation, you can join us. And honestly, you can laugh at me for making a mistake of muting.
Womp.
Oh, you're gonna womp womp me like womp womp
Oh,
womp.
yeah. No, get absolutely womp womp.
Oh, okay. All right. This is DJ and like no, this is Charlie. I'm Charlie Brown for the day. Chaos is
Womp
one of
womp
the
womp.
parents. Pretty much.
Womp womp womp.
I need to steal a bell from like a village. Oh, and it reminds me, I was gonna like raid this person for the wheat. I'm so sorry, but like they have so much wheat and they're not gonna be here, so I'm just gonna take it and then replant it and yeah. Because I need to do village trades because I was planning to do that while I was like gone, I guess, or
Mm-hmm.
while we weren't playing. Because I had done some stuff off stream, mainly like we have mending. It's
Ooh, mending.
yeah, the villager stuff.
Mending good.
Yeah,
Oh, I need vines? Ugh, heck, I forgot about the vines. Where can I even get those?
you can go find them on like specific trees in the swamp.
I guess, but that means I need to find a swamp
That's true, but there's one like nearby-ish. Also, I see that you got the
nearby.
the stuff from the biome. I was gonna say that like I didn't tell you, but one of my friends who are also on the server, they actually gave me some moss to give to you.
So, funny you should say that.
They did. Were they
Well,
on while you
no.
were on?
What? Hmm?
Or were they on while you were on, or what's the funny situation about this whole
Well,
situation?
so the funny situation is that I was walking through the grounds and I was like, wait, this person has moss. Hold on a minute. And so I took one of their moss blocks and replaced it with a thing of bone meal so that it regrew itself. And then I curated myself an entire moss empire off of that one block.
Oh my gosh. Well,
So thank you to your friend for supplying the moss because I really needed it.
oh,
And I appreciate them and also you.
I was gonna say something else too. Like, did you walk through their house? Because apparently they lost their ally. If you didn't see like the
No,
Discord stuff in the Minecraft section, or
I
if
did not go into their house.
gotcha. Yeah, because
What did they
apparently
lose?
one of the allies, the little sprites that float around and pick up your stuff.
Oh, no, I definitely did not see that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wasn't even aware that. Did we have one of those?
Well, they found some from one of those pillager tower areas, where like the only way to find them
Oh,
is that they're kidnapped or not kidnapped, but they're stolen.
gotcha. That's a bummer. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
If I find another one, I will keep an eye out for it. I mean, another in that, like, any.
I mean, they are clonable. I forgot how, like, they don't mate. They're just clone. I forgot how they're
You can
cloned,
make
but
more of them.
pretty much just multiply.
Perhaps you just have to shove them into a piston or something.
Also, if you need, like,
Um,
any animals, like, to have or to breed, there's a few on the top of the mountain, because, like, I was digging and digging for all that dirt that I needed, right? And, like, it's up there. That's all I can really say is that they're up there. There's, like, a sheep. There's a bunch of sheep, actually, like, free range. I do want to find, like, a lead at some point. So I can, bring them around.
mhm.
But they're living their best life. No one has gone to slaughter them. Hopefully. I say hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Because, I'm not on as often. My friends are on way more than I am. And so, it's like, huh.
Ooh, someone's building a cool house over here.
Who? Where? When?
Whoa, look at this thing! Wait, is this the village? It's a pretty intense looking village. I think this is someone's house. They've built it outside of the village.
It's another village?
There's a little acacia village if you go like
Oh, Chaos,
the direction
we've
that.
been here before, Chaos.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure that we've been to this village,
I'm
but the
like
house
staring
is
at you right
new.
now. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
the house is definitely new.
Well, they were actually patching it up. There's a lot of like wheat on the floor. I needed like to put stuff away from my inventory into my chest real quick. But
There.
just don't take any.
Wasn't planning on it. I was actually heading toward a jungle.
Oh, what for?
Vines.
Hmm. That's right.
Pretty sure I can find vines in a jungle.
Do you have a shear?
I do.
Because you have to have a shear to get the not the sapling.
Yep, yep. I got him. But I do need to remember which direction the jungle is in. I think I'm going the right way.
Yeah, just go straight. It was funny because like when came back, I was like, "Whose house is this?" Oh no, they're taking over Chaos's land, and then I was like, "Wait, this is actually part of Chaos's land."
Oh, wait. That might actually be.
Yeah, and I was like surprised by it because I was like thrown off. But also like, I don't know. I thought you were gonna go for like a different direction than that because I thought you said you were gonna go underground. You know?
I mean, I'd considered it, and I might do that for one of my other pieces, but not for the main house.
Gotcha. Okay. I gotta put this flesh away. Yeah, putting the flesh away. Put them coal down because I did go mining because I needed to get like a bunch of materials. But I think the only way for me to level up these villagers properly, because if I don't level up the book guy, the librarian, there we go, then I won't be
Man, with the.
then I won't be able to like break the pedestal and then move it because it's currently on a path that needs to be not blocked.
Mhm.
And there's that.
Hmm.
So I'm trying to like not to break it, but like his trades are expensive. 32 emeralds and a book for mending, which makes sense. And then there's the fact of books, like the shelves. They cost 9 emeralds, and I don't have enough emeralds. I can't trade enough of that at the moment. I'm emerald
Yikes,
broke.
that sounds expensive.
Yeah, picking up the wheat, picking up the seeds. Oh no. Okay, I jumped, but it didn't make the ground mad. Cool. No angry floor.
And in the distance, I see the vines I seek.
Hey, there's
My
dogs over
food is low.
there is dog over there as well.
Fuck.
Love is an
Yes,
issue. I see
it
it. Ba
is.
ba da ba dee boo. Da be da. Da ba da ba da. I am on an indie music run, I think, lately. Like I've been listening to like not 90s, like music that sounds like adventure music for like the 90s, you know?
Fun.
You know what? You understand what I'm describing, or is it like totally just being like, we no, what are you
I
saying?
don't quite understand, but I guess.
Like 90s adventure movie, like, like you be down to like run or have like an adventure, or like, the friends are having fun in the background. Kind of like that.
Mhm. I see. Hey, vines. I've acquired.
Sorry, Vine no longer exists. It's Tic Tac.
Oh, Tic Tac. Do you also watch the Tic Tacs?
No, I'm too
Yeah,
old
no,
for
I watch
that.
Instagram Reels.
No. You watch the Instagram reels that I throw at you,
Yes.
which I highly doubt. I don't know if I haven't like sent any to you lately. Lately, Instagram for me has been a bunch of stuff that's just gay.
Fair enough. Suppose
It's
I can't argue with that. Would be loath to do so.
I miss watching like the dogs and the cute seal videos. Now it's just gay.
Just gay.
Just gay.
You
Maybe
know
she's
that game Doki Doki Literature Club?
yeah, what's
Bit that's just Monica.
oh, is it? Who?
Never mind.
Oh, sorry. I
Never
like I know the game. I just don't know any reference you're gonna tell me about the game besides.
mind. It's alright, you can be uncultured.
Okay.
I won't judge much.
hmm Oh
I mean,
yeah.
like, I'm definitely judging, but, like, not a lot.
So yesterday, Cardboard Town was on sale, and I finally got to like play it. It was
Hmm.
okay. Like it's a board game where you city manage your materials and whatnot, and there's different events. It's all right. I feel like it would have been really fun if it was like more like a multiplayer game because
Mhm.
it's a board game, right? Like it's a city builder that's in the style of a board game. And I feel
Sure.
like it'd be fun to like everybody has like their own city while they're trying to manage their resources and trade with others.
Yeah.
That would make it way better than what it is currently. Like
Mm.
I tried it, it's like it's all right. It's not hitting. I won't play it again. Also, there's jungle like to the right of us that's way closer, by the way. I
I
should
went this way.
no, 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 no. Like if you go east,
I went
you went
from
south.
like the direction from my house to your house. I went
Yeah, you went south. If you go east, it's way closer. Like if you
okay.
go visit the village section, that's where they are. Hey, villagers, I need you guys to have children. Is that so hard to ask? Huh. Okay.
A big commitment, man.
All right. I'm in bed because I need them to wake up so I can buy the materials
Oh,
from them.
that's a whole thing that you're doing, huh? I don't have a bed,
Chaos, you never have a
so
bed.
I'm
I
gonna
tell
have
you
to
this
hop
every
out.
time when you go.
I'm planning on going on a huge adventure. I'm just going to the freaking jungle.
You always go on a huge adventure.
It
And it's
wasn't
like,
really a huge adventure. I just wanted vines.
but you should always carry a bed because you never know when you need to sleep or when.
I mean, yes, but also if I die, I'd like to make it back to my house and not wind up stranded wherever the hell I am, you know?
Well, you know that like, well, that's when you break the bed when you leave, and then when you die, it's fine.
I mean, then when I die, I just wind up at the freaking spawn point, which is not far from our house, but is not exactly ideal.
Mm, all right, I guess. All right, thank you for all that. I need to trade stuff. How much do I have? Okay, we're gonna get pumpkin and pie. Does it bother me that I'm using
Contingent
all?
number for the pumpkin pie.
Does it bother me that okay. Okay, you take milk. Well, if it was pumpkin, I'd be so much happier. All right, I can't be a chooser. All right, librarian, give me the bookshelf. Wow, trading 9 animals for a bookshelf only moves the librarian's like thing ever so small. Like I think I need one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. About like 11 trades is what I'm guessing.
It's a lot of trades.
That well now it's not 10. Yeah, sorry. The number after 11 is 10, not 9.
What are you going on about?
I'm having a moment. Don't mind me. What is
Maybe a little bit concerned for your safety and health.
I'm just having a brain aneurysm, I guess.
Having a strong.
Stroke, stroke.
James Nun's having a strong. Bond's name's the James.
Now who
Hello?
is this?
DJ, do you smell burnt toast?
uh, yes. That's because I burnt toast earlier. Why?
Okay.
Okay,
See, if you're smelling burnt toast, that could mean one of two things.
that means Kavu should join, right? If I smell burnt toast, Kavu should join.
Rough.
Fair point, fair point.
Join the Minecraft.
A little spot. Look at your nice little why do you have so many beds?
Oh, because I need the people to make children. And in order for them to
This
have
is like
children,
a
they need
freaking
beds.
concentration camp, DJ. What the heck?
Well, I'm still building it. Jeez, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Are you building Rome?
Yes. Actually,
It would
Chaos,
go with the amphitheater that's Abby built.
that's true. But Chaos, what I was gonna ask is, like, could you help me build houses for the villagers? Like, themed houses, if you don't mind?
Fine. Yeah, sure.
I mean, not now, but, like,
Oh.
later.
Yeah, no, I'll be happy to.
If we're going with the Rome analogy, if you and Chaos build Rome together, one of you has to die.
That is true.
Why?
The story of Rome was built by two brothers, and one of them kills the other when they quarrel.
Oh. Well, I'm an only child, so it doesn't matter.
Well, in this case,
Familiar with
Chaos.
the names Romulus and Remus?
Remus and Rama?
Yeah,
Never mind. Well, my hope is that I would be the one that survived. But
yeah,
we'll
I
find
mean,
out.
it seems likely to me. My money's on you, TBH.
You know,
Okay.
it really shouldn't be though.
Listen,
DJ is way more likely to kill me on a whim than I am to kill him.
That's
Cough,
true.
cough, last
I knew
episode.
you were gonna reference that. Yeah. Okay, I didn't mean to. I just hit you with an axe once, and I didn't realize. Well, I didn't know that you were gonna
Q, I
die.
used to attack you in cold blood.
Excuse me, you robbed me.
But you buried a hatchet in your back. Like, let's go.
Hey, wait, hey, let's bury the hatchet. Yeah.
It's in my spine.
6 feet under.
Okay, fair. It is kind of cool that your house has these little like staircase thingies coming out of it because I can always tell when I'm heading in the right direction.
Well, I'm still in the
Like, oh, hey,
progress of
staircase
like
thingy.
building more of it still. I need the bamboo to finish up because I'm still constructing my construction.
Hmm. I do realize that I built my house backwards to your place. The whole front of it is going to be facing the other way, but that's where I built my other lily pad, so I had to like build in that way.
It's fine. You want to
It's just
obstruct
like,
me from being happy? I'm kidding. It's like one of those like city houses, right? You know, it's like it has a great view. The view is literally just a pipe.
ah, New York.
Well, it's not a view of a dumpster, so
Fair
comparatively.
Hey, no,
point.
no, no. If it was a dumpster, at least you could see the fun things that happen in dumpsters, from rats to people to dumpster
There's
divers.
nothing fun about it.
And let me fantasize somehow, okay?
Why are you
Fun
fantasizing about dumpster
dumpster.
people?
I don't
What's
know.
happening here?
What is happening?
Just
Okay.
having a rough afternoon. Oh
I
boy.
learned so much about DJ today.
Actually, I would go dumpster diving, but then my cleanliness in myself was like, no, you don't need to. But you would, but you don't need to.
Okay,
No,
so one
no
of
normal human being who isn't like desperate and dying goes dumpster diving.
I will go on. I'm down for adventure as long as I don't get sliced up by a random can inside, like a trash bag.
Or
well,
like
so I
stuck
give
with a
you
needle
I
or
give you this
something.
I give you this word of warning. One of my friends back in college acquired a printer from dumpster diving, and
Uh-huh.
said printer was full of baby cockroaches.
Oh.
Um, and you can determine what happened next because it is exactly what you think happened next.
Jesus Christ.
So
Cockroaches are a whole other species than roaches. Like, roaches, they're small. Cockroaches, oh. I'm
yeah.
burning the house.
May I suggest perhaps avoiding the dumpster diving if you have any say in the matter, because you have no idea what is living in the dumpster.
That's true. It could be me.
It could be you.
Be you.
You could, in fact, be living out your raccoon dreams. I
Hmm.
cannot stop you from living out your dreams of being a raccoon. I can suggest perhaps maybe don't.
Of course.
But, you know, live your life. You do you.
Oh yeah, but chaos. That's right. I need to actually do
Eh?
this before I forget, and then we have like an end of the stream, and like the week has passed. Like,
Okay.
so recently I put in my 2 weeks for my job
Indeed.
because I just my mental health had crashed. It was really messy for like last week. Not saying that this week has been this week has been mildly better, but like I've learned that when I get sad now, it's not as bad because I'm more equipped to deal with it in a sense, but it still sucks.
I mean, yeah, no, sadness is never an amazing thing, but it's awesome to be more equipped to deal with it. That's great.
Yeah. And like it was nice. And then when I came back from work, actually no, while I was in like my mood, I was like actually thinking like what okay. Something isn't just not working. I'm already in like a really bad mood. And every time I go to work, I am even more in a bad mood even after it, you know? Because
Yep.
I am overworked, not really valued, like when it comes to other management, and like I think it was just like it's time. It's time. I keep saying that I'm gonna go find a new job. You know what? The only way I'm gonna find a new job is if I quit this job and just do it, which we're gonna figure out the rest of it sooner or later,
Nice.
right?
Or
And
you'll die.
that too, you know, I'll die alone. But
No.
no,
But like, you know, no more living that like, you know, overworked, underpaid life. Pretty good. Can't
yeah.
complain.
Apparently they're talking about like raising the minimum wage to $20, and I don't know if that's gonna. I highly doubt it's gonna pass by anytime soon.
Gonna say that's pretty fucking rad.
Even if it did, it would be like over an incremental period of time.
Yeah, because like at least where we are, that's what they're talking about. Because it's expensive living here.
What's it currently?
Currently, minimum wage is $15.50.
Okay.
And like,
And there's no like progression plan in place, because I know that's what a lot of states did, where like they're like, oh, every year we're gonna da 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 until we reach blah 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 by whatever year,
mhm.
which is like that's cute and all, but like completely ignores the way that like the economy works.
I think
Like,
that is like technically the plan is to function in that way, but I have no idea if it's actually going to happen.
Yeah,
To
we
my
can.
understanding, like on a yearly basis, they're supposed to be increasing it, but I really can't confirm
it's
or deny
kind
if
of
it's working.
it's like a goofy thought process to do it that way though, right? Because like I understand the idea so that it's not just like a shock to the system of like all these companies that have budgeted out whatever, right?
No, they
But
can deal
like,
with it. They can deal with it. They have enough money.
well, I mean they could possibly not, but anyway, my point was is that like I understand that like that's the process there, but like they don't know what a dollar is going to be worth 2 or 3 years from now. Like literally nobody knows that.
Fair
Nobody
point.
has that information. So like it doesn't really make any sense to do it this way, because like it's like, oh, then it'll be, $20 by 2027 or whatever, right? It's like, okay, but what if like $20 is worth like $5 by 2027, you know?
Hmm.
Sure. Well, I mean, the
Uh,
dollar right now, like, is not actually worth all that much in the grand scheme, which is terrifying to think about. But like,
How are the dollar stores still in business?
oh, they're not costing a dollar anymore. That's how.
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
That's
They
like the
just round everything up to a dollar amount so that it's still like a theme, I guess, but like a dumb theme.
Yeah.
yeah. But to continue on with like my story of stuff is like I came into work, I knew I was gonna get talked to because I really did try to show up to work, and then like allergy stuff happened, and then like I passed out, then I basically no called, no showed, because I was like I'm gonna be 2 hours
Yeah.
late. Then I was like no, nope, 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 and then so the next day I had a talking to by like one of the because like there is your leader for like the section, and then there's like kind of like the managers, and then you have like the store director. There's two managers there. They're both horrible in their own ways. No
Okay.
offense to them, um, but all defense.
Taken.
Wow.
And just like
Cold-blooded.
it's just like I had so they sat me down and they were like, "So why couldn't you call me when like and like you can literally go online and just call out?" And I'm like, it doesn't matter anymore at this point in my head. But and then you could like tell your coworker that you're not gonna show up or something like my coworker's like, what, it's fine if you don't need to if you don't want to show up, that's cool. Like I don't care anymore. Like they don't care either. Like they're done. And basically it started off very like strong and against me, and they were like, your attendance is really bad. I understand. Like they were like, you're a good worker. Like when you show up, you do really good work. Like it's really nice that when you're here at these departments. And then they were like, but if things continue like this, in 2 weeks, we're not gonna schedule you at all because your leaders are afraid to schedule you, like because they don't know if you're gonna show up or not. And I was just like, listen,
Has your attendance been that bad? Like, how much work have you missed?
like it's honestly it has been if we add it up, it's been like the days has been like every other week, but it's also just because
Uh,
like I am stressed because of the fact of how inconsistent hours have been from the beginning. Hello, Nampi. Because in the beginning, like I always got under the hours that I required or asked for, and then we had like the whole remodel stuff that happened, which led to um hours getting cut after the remodel was done because they gave too many hours for the remodel because they had to make payroll. And so my hours went down to like 9, 16 hours a week. And like in the beginning, I was like, I need 30. They never met my demand for 30. They always went for like 25, 26. Like it was bad. So that's why I had to
what
learn a
what
different.
did you agree to when you got, I guess, when they signed you on? What hourly did you agree to? Like how many hours like weekly did they
So
promise you?
it's weird because what they did was they went around and asked everybody like, how many hours do you want? Right? And, like we put it in the system.
Uh-huh.
I put 32 because that's how
Okay.
much I need to like live, and it was just wasn't. they never met that. And
Gotcha.
then so I increased mine to 36 because I'm like, I need these days. But scheduling was weird and funky, so there was that. And then also the fact that they always like to schedule me outside of my availability. And like I have to talk to them about this, like, hey, can this work or that work? And like they really don't care about anybody's schedule, unfortunately. And but
Well, I mean, it sounds like maybe y'all just weren't a good fit for one another. I know that sounds like a really weird way to say that, but
yeah,
like, yeah.
but so yeah, so they're like, so basically it's kind of like a threat of like, we're not gonna schedule you at all because your team leads don't know if yeah, they don't know if you're gonna show up. And I'm like, I would love to show up, but the way you guys already treat things as it is, like, I come to work to do more than my job requires sometimes, like a lot. And like a lot of my coworkers do call out because like they're also tired. Like the thing is, we like, for when it comes to pickup orders, right? We have to go across the store sometimes to like pick up something to bring it to like the certain areas. And like the way they built the store, it's like, why is it here when it should be here next to us so we don't have to go across the store each and every time? Like, and we're always so understaffed because our leader, well, manager, doesn't know how to schedule schedules, which it seems like it's a consistent trend when it comes to like minimum wage jobs, because I don't know how hard it is to sit down and write a schedule, but some of them take forever and fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yikes.
with that whole thread, I actually was like, I'll just tell you this. I was actually already thinking about putting my 2 weeks in. If I'm not gonna get scheduled in 2 weeks, that's fine. And then that's when it got funky because they were like, "Oh, well, like I would like to know what's going on," and like they backtracked. So I told them like my story, like what I'm going through currently, why everything has been messy, and like they were like, "We want to work with you. Why don't you take a leave of absence and like and stuff like that?" And I was just like, "I'll think about it." But in my head, I was like, "I'm submitting my 2 weeks when I have the chance right now, once we're done with this talk." But like it was really weird because they all of a sudden they started like really just like complimenting me and like everything, try to keep me there, and I'm just like, I'm gone. Why are you trying to keep me after you already said that you're not gonna schedule me? Like, I'm not gonna be able to live. Like by the time you
Yeah.
see me, I'm not alive or something, you know? Not that I'm saying that like that's bad for my mental health, that bad or anything, but it's just like, how do you think I'm gonna survive when I'm not gonna be able to survive?
Mm.
And
Yeah. No,
so
that is tough.
it was just like a comedic situation of, why are you doing hot and cold? This, you aren't Katy Perry.
Yeah, it's. I think it's a mixture of like the corporate environment for one. I mean, the having people who don't even work at this. I feel like I remember you saying this, but like having people who don't even work at that store do the scheduling is kind of. Maybe that was somebody else. I've heard a
I think
lot of
that's somebody
complaints about.
else.
Okay.
Like when our leaders aren't there to do our schedule, we have like somebody else do the schedule, like somebody from HR, but the HR person doesn't understand
Gotcha.
anything.
Yeah, but like that shit's wild. Like I don't know. It's. I feel like being at will entertainment is kind of a not entertainment. Sorry, at will employment is kind of a it's a finicky little thing, right? Because at the end of the deal, at the end of the day, I'm having a stroke now. Is there something about this Minecraft stream?
No, no, no.
Hang in there. You got this. You're fine.
It's DJ's curse, you know.
Um, at the end of the day,
There we go.
you have a bit of a handshake deal, right? When they sign you on, it's understood that they can drop you whenever they want, and you can drop them whenever you want, and
But with the 2 week
that's
notice.
how it's that's how it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the 2 weeks notice thing is more or less a formality. You
Mm-hmm.
aren't required to do anything,
Yeah.
but like, but it's the hey, I'm not going to be a dick about this and screw over all my like coworkers and shit, which is fine because like 2 weeks usually gives them plenty of time to like at least put postings out so they
Yeah.
can get somebody in to like fill your spot. But at the end of the day, you go in there, they give you a proposal of what they're willing to pay you, how often they're willing to give that payment, and like, you know, what you've got to do.
Yeah.
And if you uphold your end of the bargain and they uphold their end of the bargain, it's usually pretty kosher. But if you go in there and you're like, hey, I need 32 hours a week, and they're like, sounds good, and they don't give you that, then yeah, go fuck yourself. But at the same time, if you go in there and it's like wishy-washy about how many hours you get, and then like you don't show up for the hours that you do get scheduled, then I can also see why they would be pissed.
Oh yeah, I get it.
So like, I don't know, it kind of just sounds like your availability didn't line up with what they need, and it just wasn't gonna be a good fit in the first place. And also, it seemed like you fucking hated it there, man. Like,
Over
to be
time,
completely honest.
yeah, I definitely just like it's exhausting because you're dealing with like a very sucky environment, but you're also dealing with people, and honestly, people have been getting just meaner and meaner at this point. Like
mhm.
it's too
And the holiday season's coming too,
yeah,
so it's gonna be
exactly.
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Pass on that one.
like, can the
Yeah,
humans
fuck
be
that.
human? Like it's like I don't know. I get that people will complain about anything. But gosh.
But like, what if we acknowledge that these are just people trying to earn a living and we don't need to be assholes? That would be great.
Yeah. Actually, that's to segue. I was gonna talk about like quitting jobs. Like, what is? Have you guys ever had to quit a job? I know one of you have, but I don't know about you,
I
Kavu.
have, yes. I don't know about you, Kavu, but I have certainly quit a job.
Yeah, I've quit jobs before for sure.
What was it like for you guys? Like, what did you guys do? Or like,
Well, I don't think I've ever quit a job on bad terms. I will say that much. I was either leaving the area or got something else and needed to move on, right? Because I was looking for something better or whatever.
mm-hmm.
Um, I also worked for family business for quite some time and quit that when it was no longer going to be the family business because I hated it there in the first place and I had already been working there longer than I said I would. So when it got sold to somebody else, and they're like, "Oh, and you could stay on," and I'm like, "No, fuck you. What? Bye." It was
Thanks a
really
lot.
funny because I like brought like most of like the tribal knowledge with me. Like
Oh, jeez.
people who like bought the place were not aware of that. But that's neither here nor there.
Ah.
But like the only one that kind of made me go like, "What the fuck?" was I worked for a bank, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like a really, really good employee for that bank because I mean, Kavu is Kavu, right? And I would go out of my way to go to places that I got essentially enlisted to work at a particular branch, but I ended up working at several different branches as needed, like throughout my tenure there.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like already doing stuff that like wasn't originally in the plans. Um, I moved from being part time to full time. Uh, I did like weird hours as it was needed. I cut hours as it was needed when we were going through certain issues with the bank. I went through all sorts of ups and downs, right? And then I got the opportunity to have an internship as a UI UX designer at a company in Michigan. You know, that would all be remote and whatnot. And I was like, hey, this is something like actually in my field. I mean, they would like me to start like tomorrow, but I told them, hey, can I like actually postpone this, um can I like postpone this so that like I can like at least give like a week's notice, right? If
Mm-hmm.
not 2 weeks. And so I like told my bank about that, right? And like the people who like immediately worked with me were like, "Oh yeah, that's fine. Like that's like this is great. We're like so happy for you, right?" But obviously, like the actual corporate arm of things was like, "Just so you know, if you don't do it 2 weeks, we can't rehire you." I'm like, "Okay, great," because I don't want to be rehired. Like that's just it's just there's just a certain like corpos suck
There's
is
always
like
like a disconnect between like corporate and like the people who are actually at the work, you know?
corporate and human beings. Yes,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know.
Because
Corpos are they're sharks. They're awful.
like where I worked at, right? So our store was made changed and to add more self checkouts to take over humans. Okay, no, sorry, I'm
Okay.
only saying that because that's all I hear from like people who come there like, oh, they're taking our jobs. I'm like, okay.
But I'm fine with that. That is a job I'm okay with being replaced by robots. I'll
No,
be
no,
100 with you.
it's not like that either. I'm like, they're not taking our jobs. They're hiring people all the time. They're not just giving us hours though. Okay, so really, no, they're
Okay,
not.
they're taking your jobs then, I mean, ultimately. But but that is like there are other things to be done, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but so the whole thing was that, but then corporate decides to be annoying because like they're just like, okay, so we have self checkout, so you guys can like check out yourselves, right? You know, but then they're like, oh, there's too much theft now, so uh,
Oh
here
yes.
we're gonna cut it down to 10 items or less, so that we have more people to be angry at check lanes. Also, you can't buy alcohol there, which makes sense. But
Yeah, makes sense,
we were
yeah.
promised to have like, so originally there was supposed to be like 3 people to watch like self checkout,
Hmm.
and then they were like, it's okay, it's gonna be 2 because like one person per 6 self checkout lanes. No, it's one. It's one for 12.
Oh
And
What do they
boy.
want you to do in those, like, when you're watching self-checkout? I assume it's just, like, I mean, ideally, it's like, oh, hey, if somebody scans something that's alcohol and needs to show ID, you go check that out. Or, oh, hey, if somebody's, like, scanned something and it double scan, you go and you cancel one or whatever, like, that sort of thing, right? But, like, if somebody's shoplifting over there, what are you supposed to do about it?
so okay,
Well, I'll tell you exactly what they say you're supposed to do about it. Absolutely freaking nothing.
Exactly. So, like, what do they want? Like,
I mean, okay, so I worked at a Safeway for about 3 months.
mm,
Um, and I'll name drop it because like I think it's not necessarily a huge secret that generally corporate sucks.
mhm,
yeah,
Um, and that particular job, there was, to be clear, we left amicably. There was nothing actively wrong with it. Actually, there was a fair quantity actively wrong with it, but we were fine, right? But one of the things that I remember them training us on, like immediately once you get there, is just this concept of like, if you see someone shoplifting, do absolutely nothing.
yeah,
And
it's
like,
not
I
worth
don't know
it.
if that's the case for all stores, and I am not condoning shoplifting. Like, don't do it. It's not great, but like the mentality behind it is definitely just this idea of like, you do not want to wind up in an altercation. And
Yeah.
like, we are liable for your injury if you end up getting hurt chasing after someone who is shoplifting. So don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, even banks tell you not to fuck with that. Just, I mean,
Yeah.
give it up. They're probably not going to get far anyway. It's, yeah, like, I worked for a CVS for about a year, and, like, it was a little bit different there. It's kind of more of a play by ear sort of situation with whether or not you do something about it.
hmm
And, like, some shoplifters are different than others, right? Like, do you know what the number one most shoplifted item is?
uh, condoms.
Beauty
Oh
products,
yes, beauty
makeup.
products. That's right.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
My
that
bad.
Yeah,
tracks.
because it's small and it's very expensive. It's very easy to just drop in your pocket,
Makes
and it's worth a
sense.
whole fucking bunch.
Huh.
Yeah, and conveniently, CVS likes to put the fucking aisle for that right next to the door.
Of course they do.
Yeah, their brains are huge, but
Big brain.
again,
Big
like
brain activity.
corpos are dumb. There's
Uh,
fact of the
just
matter.
like, come on, guys. Let's. I don't know. I don't know. I think that I am much happier working in an office environment than I ever was working in retail. And like, I didn't work retail for too long in the grand scheme of things. And that is mostly because I worked there and I was like, I hate this. And if I have any say in the matter of never doing this again, I am not going to do it ever again.
Hmm.
Um,
It's better to be part of corporate than underneath the teal. I'll say that
oh,
much.
absolutely. But in addition, it gives you a healthy respect for the people who are working retail and
Yes.
like, helps you to remember to not be an asshole and like put your cart away when you're done shopping
Hmm.
or something.
Don't remind me, okay? People will put carts anywhere. Like there's literally just something like 5 feet away. You can't walk there. Like I get
Nope.
it that if you can't walk there, but like also you can walk there.
Yeah, but use your freaking legs, people. Not rocket science.
There are people that like you can tell by like the way that they act towards customer service that they've never been in that position in their life.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
when you hear them in front of you in line, it's like, oh, you're gonna change that tone real quick, or I'm a two-piece you. I'm gonna tell you what.
That
I
kind of
promise, sir.
reminds me of like when I was at the higher end grocery store. Before I was like fired from it for tardiness. God, I'm pissed off about that still. Like getting fired for
You have
tardiness.
like attendance issues,
Yeah.
DJ.
Yes, I do, but like I always showed up for work until like at the very end where I just like I was done with it.
Yeah, towards the very end where you got fired.
Yes, okay. I have attendance issues.
Acknowledging this.
But like for my first job, I put my all into it and actually like tried. This one, I'm just like, okay, I can't put
Yeah.
my heart and soul into it because there is no heart and soul in this. So I'm just gonna do my best and move on.
It's like weird because on one hand I see like the people's argument for there being a sense of entitlement of like it's a job, right? You do it to survive. It's not necessarily going to be something that changes your life or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I also come from the perspective of like, bro, I mean, if I don't want to just like work a shitty job to survive, what am I surviving for? You know?
Yeah, fair. If you want to enjoy your life, like
Mm-hmm.
I had a conversation with a Lyft driver this morning, which was a fascinating conversation. I would love thoughts on it because the
Okay.
conversation total was really interesting. But before I get into that, I was talking to him and I asked him, what for you is the secret to happiness? Um, I promise it came up naturally in conversation. I'm not that kind of person that steps into a Lyft and is like, so tell me your life story. Uh,
I don't know. You see,
but
like you do that chaos. Like,
I mean, okay, so it often does end up happening, but that's mostly because they'll start talking, and I'm like, I would prefer not to tell you about my life because that's invasive, but you can tell me all about yours, and then I hear their whole life story.
You're the one driving. You're the one in the position of power here, so you can tell me all you want.
So you can tell me everything.
well, chaos is also a really
Um,
good listener, if we're being honest.
oh, well, thank you.
No.
Fair, reasonable. But the funny thing about the whole conversation, right? I asked him what his secret to happiness is, and one of the things that he said was, "Love what you do," and like, yeah, super fair. I think that's a really good take, and I think it's not an uncommon answer either, right? Like if what you're doing in your day job makes you happy, then you will be happy every day.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Um, although you can't, rely on it making you happy because Lord knows there are going to be days when it just sucks and there
Yeah,
is
no matter
nothing
what you're
that can be
doing.
done. Right? Like it just
Yeah, and
work is work.
like if it's on the daily, it's like just quit the job. Because I remember like
Yeah.
when you were
Mhm.
working, back at that place. Uh, I remember like how sad it was making you. Like you broke down one day because of the fact that
Oh,
they scheduled you at like an unreasonable time.
oh
I-
no, I could regale you with the full story of that because that was an entire garbage situation. I freaking so I applied there. I got accepted. It was great. I was looking forward to working because I didn't have a job in my field at the time. So I'm like, awesome, I'll do that thing. And I like got a call on a Saturday and they were like, your first day is tomorrow. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I was not informed of this. I don't have a uniform. I don't have like anything. I am completely unprepared and I cannot show up tomorrow because I have plans. And they're like, okay, well, instead, then you're going to show up on Monday at 5 a.m. And I'm like, okay, sure. And then I broke down and sobbed off the phone for like just
Enough
far
time.
longer than I care to admit, just because of the fact that like I had failed to get the first thing right, and so I was immediately punished by doing the opening shift. And I worked the opening shift for the remainder of my time there. Um, which for a person who had like specifically requested I have these hours free and I
Mhm.
have classes that I have to be attending and I cannot be waking up at 5 in the morning every day to do this. I'm sorry, not even 5, like 4:30 in the morning so that I can make this happen.
How long did you
Um,
stay there?
I was there for 3 months.
Okay, well, I'm glad it was only 3 months because, like, that's fucking stupid. If it doesn't work for you, then it doesn't work for you.
Yeah,
Jesus.
well, I mean, there were other
But you don't
things about
really,
that
yeah.
like job that were just kind of a nightmare overall.
Mhm.
Like the job itself was not that bad, but the morning shift was awful. Having to like deal with some certain managers that were there was terrible. And, it hurts standing on your feet on a tile floor for hours and hours and hours. I think anyone who's done
Yeah,
retail can acknowledge this.
true.
Um, and so, not to say I'm a complete wimp, but like I wimped out after 3 months because I could not handle it anymore. And the whole time I was just freaking miserable. Um, but you live and you learn, right? Like I will never do that again because if I have any say in the matter, I would like to not have to do it. But I also know that I can't always hope and expect to be so lucky. So such
Hmm.
as it is, it is. But yeah, that's that's that story.
I worked for Tim Hortons for 6 years.
Oh damn.
What's Tim
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hortons?
so
I've
you
heard the
really stuck it
name, but
out then.
what is
Oh
it?
yeah, but that was the one that was the family business because my parents were franchisees,
Oh.
which came with its own bag of worms, right? Because like even if I was scheduled whatever hours, and a lot of this was like right after college, and I kind of left college and not a very happy boy.
Mhm.
Um, and it was kind of compounded by the fact that like I would go and I would work there, right? And I would be in charge basically of just really just miserable and awful people, like crack addicts, essentially. I'm gonna
For
just go
sure.
ahead and say it, right? And just keeping like grown women from like fighting each other on a daily basis as
Mm,
like a fresh college grad, and like despite having like a degree that has put me in like six-figure debt, right? And like all of that mixed with not feeling like I can actually take the time to pursue anything else because I come home from that exhausted, right? And then I
mhm.
don't know when I'm going to work again, right? Because I might be scheduled for like, oh, I don't work till like, Sunday or whatever, right? But at any point, I can just get the call to like come in because people constantly don't show up, right? So it was one of those situations where it's like, okay, every single day there's going to be like at least one person that calls off, right? And that is fucking miserable to deal with from like everyone's perspective, from the management perspective, from the perspective of the other like employees. It's just awful. And in my case, I was always the first call because I would say yes, right? Because I didn't really. I mean, I lived with the people who worked slash owned the place, right? I didn't really have.
Be an
What was I
option to
gonna
say
say?
no.
No.
You're gonna like set the example of not showing up to work. Yeah, that's gonna go super well.
Yeah, I mean, like it's sort of a even if it wasn't like even if it was someone else's shift that I was covering, right? So it just and it probably, you know, did anybody say hi to Nampy when Nampy came in? Can we
Yes,
like real
I
quick? Okay,
did.
just making sure.
My gosh. What kind of streamer would I be without saying hello to my friends?
That's what I was just making sure. You know,
Uh,
but yeah,
very
it's
high.
awful. So like when it's like, oh no, the machines are gonna replace like retail and customer service jobs. I don't care. Good.
You
Like,
can
oh, but
have
that's so
them.
many jobs. Maybe it shouldn't be. Like, maybe you should be teaching people to do something else.
Maybe it shouldn't be putting us into six-figure debt to do something that's going to earn you more than minimum wage per hour. That'd be keen.
True. And I mean,
Really
that's come
great.
down a lot. I've done a pretty decent job of, I think I left with like $130,000 of debt. And I
Damn.
think it's at like somewhere between 70 and
Chaos.
80,000 now.
It's all right. I'm fine.
Well, how
Yeah,
did
right,
you
Chaos?
die? Where did you die?
I'm good. I'm hanging in there. But yeah,
Zombie kicked
that's
your ass.
yeah. They do that. As long as I'm strong enough to come back. That's a whole ass creeper. Oh boy, this may be not strong enough to come back. Yeah, please don't explode on me. Anyway, congrats on that, serious dent in your debt there. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Slowed down a little bit since um rent and
Oh,
everything, but
fuck. Oh,
bear with
fuck.
me.
Oh, creeper. Directly next to
Reaper.
me. Oh,
Oh
boy.
man.
Oh
Oh,
no.
God. I am trapped in a cave with a creeper. This is gonna suck.
That sounds hot. Okay, no. That's
You'd think, right? But, oh my God, I survived. How did I survive?
Back in the mine,
Oh,
pickaxes swinging from side to
I knew
side.
Kavu was going into it slowly. I was like, Kavu's doing it.
that sucked. Oh, God. Could you imagine actually being in that situation in real life? Trapped in the bottom of a freaking waterlogged cave with a thing that's gonna explode and kill you? Ugh.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a mining accident.
It really does, doesn't it? Oh,
Congratulations.
God. Reality is sad.
Yeah.
Oh, so this was the conversation that I had this morning that I was curious. DJ, was there anything that you wanted to talk about before I go into this?
The last thing is just like, if your job sucks, don't stay. Just quit. Find a better option. Like, legitimately, I have too many people in this world that I know that are like, I can't leave my job, and like I'm just stuck here. I'm like, yes, you can. It's called look for another one. Just find time. It's like put in 20 minutes,
Some
do it.
people have like
You'll find it.
kids though.
Yeah,
Like
but I mean, just
that
like,
adds up.
but like, if you're by yourself and you have nothing to really take care of, and you have the time, you might as well,
Oh yeah.
because we don't want you suffering forever. That's it. That's my short gist.
Yeah, no. If you're single and, no kids, and especially if you don't have any like debt hanging over your head, you are actually pretty free. You could leave. You could go to a whole other fucking city.
Oh,
You do
yeah,
that.
go wherever you want. Live your freaking life. If you have that
Exactly.
capacity, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's what people need to like really get going. It's
Oh,
just
for
like
sure.
that shock. That's a system of like a complete reset.
Yeah. Honestly, I've thought about it like a lot. Just the idea of, get out of where you currently are and just kind of do
Hmm.
something completely different. Sounds nice. Um, so I had this conversation in the lift this morning, and I was curious about your collective thoughts on it because I
Uh-huh.
thought it was an interesting conversation. Um, and I preface this by saying I hold no malice in terms of religiosity toward anyone, and I find religion to be a beautiful thing.
Hmm.
Before I go into this topic, which may be perceived as controversial in one way or the other. Um,
Controversial. Oh,
I mean, not.
buckle up, DJ.
Aw.
Kazu's about to say something racist. No, I'm just kidding.
I promise it was not like any. So I had this conversation, and I was talking to the guy, and like this man had to be maybe in his mid 70s,
Okay.
an elderly man, a wise man,
Uh-huh.
After
wise
60, I can't really tell anymore.
fair, but wise of the ways of the world theoretically. And so we were talking. I asked him the question of what is, to your mind, the secret to happiness. Um, and he said, love what you do. But the first thing that he said before he went into that was the knowledge that I love my God and he loves me. I
Hmm.
mean, his son died for me. And keeping in mind, I have stated this on occasions, I am Jewish by blood.
Yeah.
Um, so it was a fascinating kind of thing. And like by that point of the conversation, I had not mentioned my religion. And shortly thereafter, he asked me, like, so have you joined a church? And I'm like, I'm still looking. I don't want to bring that up. But what was intriguing to me was that was his primary MO, right? The choice to say that your primary thing that brings you happiness in your day to day life is your faith, which I
Mhm.
thought was a very interesting thing. And so as we were talking, I asked him at one point of the conversation. So out of curiosity, were you raised religious, or did you find your faith on your own? Um, and what he said, which I found very interesting, was, well, first of all, I'm not religious. I'm a Christian. Um,
Oh, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
And I thought that was a really interesting statement because to my mind, like having any connection to religion makes you religious. But to his mind, clearly that was not the case, and I didn't ask him to expound on that because I'm like, all right, I don't want to get into a fight in this lift.
Hmm.
But like it was just a really interesting specification there, and he said it with such honesty that I'm like, all right, I suppose that's fair. It turned out that he was like the son of a preacher and he'd been doing Bible study for 60 years and was, you know, Christianity for him was firmly embedded
Oh
in
yeah,
his
no,
sense
that
of
man
self.
is so deep in the sauce he can't see the sunlight.
Like absolutely. And it was just a really interesting thing because I'm like, okay, so as someone who does not consider herself to be devout, right? Like I am
Hmm,
at this point reform, if anything.
gotcha.
But if you asked me, like, were you raised religious? My answer would be like, yeah, absolutely, 100%. There is no specification to my mind between religious and Jewish. Um, but I was curious as to your collective thoughts on that because it was just such a fascinating specification, and I'm like, that's a really interesting thing to say.
Got a couple of takes, but I'll let DJ go first if he has something.
I'm like, I've been counting like bamboo in my head. Also, Nip was like, your bamboo chopping is
Okay,
tickling my brain in a good way.
all
But
right. You
like,
you play the game, Game Boy. You play the game.
but
We'll handle the
no, no,
conversation.
but like, I was also, I was like, okay. I mean, sure. Like, it brought another question, but I think I'll say that let's like a Kavu talk while I process my thoughts. Okay, it's
For
Well,
sure, for
you
sure.
give us the Subway Surfers like bottom of the TikTok footage.
what?
Oh my god. The like person jumping through Minecraft obstacle course.
CS:GO surfing.
Oh god, it works
Oh my
so
god.
well, and I hate that it does.
I hate that it does too. But anyway,
Yes.
I my take number one is there is a certain I get where you're coming from when you say there's a beauty to it. Because like a pure faith is like one of the most like untouched, like almost like childlike things that a person can still hold, right? But and it can be very powerful for changing people's lives.
Absolutely.
But my personal take on it is that it is still a childlike thing in the sense that like there's a certain entitlement to saying I'm not religious, I'm Christian,
Mhm,
because it's religion as we understand it is based entirely on an act of faith, right?
mhm,
It's the ability to believe something without it necessarily being able to be proved as being true.
mhm.
But in his mind, it is 100% true without a doubt. He doesn't have to believe anything, he just knows, right?
Exactly.
But like any devoutly religious person will say that, and then they will gladly say that someone else is wrong, right?
Mm,
And that's where it stops being at all beautiful to me and more of just like, oh, I see. You're kind of a you're one of those.
You're one of those people.
While on the other hand, someone who's just like religious and they identify as that are aware of the fact that other religions exist and by the numbers you can't all be right, right? But at the same time that doesn't mean that your religion is worthless, right? Like it's done things for you, it's presumably built you some kind of community, it may have helped you through some hard times. And I don't believe in any religion. I never have. I was supposed to be raised Roman Catholic, but my mother
See
bit the
how well that
dust
worked
before
out.
she could do that. So
Oh.
yeah. Um, it just kind of came. It comes to me. I'm looking at it from the perspective of, I guess, someone. I guess kind of like a Camus kind of standpoint, right? Like an absurdist kind of standpoint in that like the literal meaning of life is whatever keeps you from killing yourself in any given moment. And if that thing is your kids, if that thing is Minecraft, if that thing is, Jesus, so be it. It's what keeps you going, right? And I've actually had a similar question to this come up recently. Chaos because someone was telling me about how their like new doctor or whatever is like really talented and really smart, but is also like deeply religious. And like you notice I said "but" there, like it's like something that's not congruent. But in my mind, if you aren't like making bad calls because of your religion, right? I think of things like Mormons who were like, "Hey, we don't want blood transfusions" or stuff like that, which is like just genuinely dangerous and like kind of stupid, but like it comes from their faith, right? If you're not doing something like that, I don't see any reason why religion and um, like being a good doctor can't be the same thing, especially if it gets you through the day, right? Because being a doctor, especially with the amount of debt that brings on, if you're like a dentist or something, right? Whatever keeps you above ground and able to help people, great. I'm happy to hear it. Praise the Lord.
Praise the well, and that is the thing that I find very interesting is that like as soon as your faith becomes someone else's not problem, but becomes someone else's I don't know, as soon as it becomes not just yours, right?
Yeah. As soon as you
Um,
drag other people into it is probably the best way to
that
say
is
it.
exactly what I'm going for here. As
Yeah.
soon as someone else gets dragged into it, it becomes a different thing, right? Because to my
Mhm.
mind, you are 100% entitled to believe in whatever you want. Believe in God, believe in Jesus, believe in the flying spaghetti monster. That is 100% your prerogative, and you can do that as long as it makes you happy. The minute that it starts resulting in like death or bigotry or generally being an asshole, like that, it starts to become other people's problem, and that is not great. I or especially if like if you are in a position of medical science and you're suggesting that the way to cure all ills is to pray rather than get chemotherapy, we should have a conversation, like
You're not gonna like the conversation.
perhaps we should talk, doctor.
I'm
um
sorry, I need to interrupt this real quick. Thank you,
no, go
Nappy,
for it.
by the way. I was trying to type thank you, but then also like I forget sometimes OBS is like you need to log into your Twitch. And then I'm like, frick, password, thing. Alright. I think oh wait, that's why. I'm not just DjDoubleT, I'm DjDoubleT 777. Anyways. But I guess
Technical difficulties, DJ.
yeah, technical
I believe the
difficulties.
name of the show is called DjDoubleT 777. So I mean, you jump in whenever you gotta jump in, man. Like this
That's
is
true.
we're on the Ellen DeGeneres show.
Oh yeah, no,
You
we're
know,
just yapping here.
But
we're
actually,
just
I did want to segue like really quickly because like what Kai was talking about, I saw something on an Instagram post recently, and they were talking about like how they're really afraid of people who like use religion as morality,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's
because
like,
it's very objective and it's taught to you. It's not learned through human experience. It's dictated.
yeah, and I was just like, oh, like I can see how that's like super scary because it's like you're not really. It's like the idea of I'm okay with religion, but what I don't like is when people blindly just like follow it. Like they don't question it, they just go for it just because they're taught that and like have no objective opinion besides this is wrong because it is what it says here. And it's
Because
like
that's what my particular pastor, preacher, freaking rabbi, imam told me. Is what it comes down to.
Right.
yeah,
Like I believe it because that is what I was told, and I will continue to believe it without question because I have no reason not to.
and I just find that very scary because it's like, oh well, if it says to kill somebody, would you just do it because that's
And
what
many
they
of them will.
Yeah,
exactly. And it's like,
crusades happen for a reason.
oh,
Like I hate
it's
to say it,
Yeah.
but
Hell, like
it is what it is, right? Like
the
there
f-
are
the fact of the matter is a very large portion of the population really just likes to be told what to do, dude. Like like a lot of people just want a daddy to tell them what to do.
Sky Daddy, yes.
yes.
Basically, yeah. Well, whether or not that daddy is Sky Daddy or whether or not that Sky Daddy is
It
insert,
is Sky Daddies and
fastest
mommies,
dictator here, right? Like
but But like, what is like, what is that person key to happiness? It's like we all have our own reasons, as long as it's just like, I don't know. It's because
That's got to be freeing as hell, though, DJ, right? It's got to be.
for
I mean, think about how nice that would be, how easy that would be to be like able to like actually wrap your mind around like if I just do what I am told, everything will be fine.
yeah, no,
What a blissful ignorance.
no.
Blissful existence.
Listen, I could not. I'm a very much like I like having my own individuality. And if someone tries to step on me for that no, I'm taking off that shoe and then putting it on my foot and then stepping on them.
But DJ, they're not stepping on you; they're saving you.
I don't need a hero. I can save myself, which is why I'm still alive. Thank you very much.
Amen. Preach. I think it's intriguing because, like, I want to clarify. I hold no animosity in my heart towards religiosity. I think that, like, having faith is a really interesting thing.
Yeah.
In complete fairness, right? Like, you were talking to the person that chose to believe that the tooth fairy was quote unquote real for years, further than she should have, because she knew that it brought her family joy to pretend to be the tooth fairy.
hmm
And like, even though her family was aware that she knew that the tooth fairy wasn't technically real, the facade of pretending that it was, as part of the joy, was enough to warrant continuing to hold up the charade, right? So I say this as someone who's like, yes, I will purposely engage in, fantasy because it's fun and because
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
some things that are just important to have. And I think that maintaining that kind of faith in your day-to-day life from a religious standpoint is great. And I personally, like, I believe in a God. But I believe in it in a different way than I think a lot of people might.
hmm
Um, and such as it is, right? Like, it just, I find it intriguing to put it in the context of that is truly what brings you joy, right? The primary thing in your life is your faith, and that happiness that it brings you fascinates me.
I mean,
It's kind of enviable, honestly.
I mean,
Like,
Absolutely.
I can understand that because it's like, I mean, people have their own moral codes and what they believe in, right? But like, as long as you're able to just, I think it comes down more towards like, as long as you're able to be somewhat of yourself consistently, and then no one takes that away from you, that's all that really matters. Especially it's like, sure, there is innocent faith, right? But like, when you think about it, it's like that's part of what makes you you. Individuality is what's also super important. But like, as long as you know that you yourself are yourself, like that's all that can make you happy, right? Well, part of what can make you happy. There's a lot of things that come into a factor, but
Yeah,
it's more like,
self-actualization and all that.
yeah, but there's like a lot to it. And but as long as you're able to continuously have the one thing that you believe is important to yourself, that is what can make you happy. No?
I guess that is a question that I'd love to ask you guys, is like, for you personally, what is that thing that brings you that joy? Like, what to your mind is your key to happiness? And I know that that's like it is a silly question. I acknowledge this, but like, and you
No,
super don't
I've
have
thought about it a lot. um,
to.
well, okay, so it's kind of a mine is kind of a double-edged sword
Okay.
because the thing that like gives me the most energy to like get through the day, that like gives me the most life, right,
Hmm.
is also something that's insanely dangerous. I 100% believe that like my key is people, just people in general,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
interaction with people, learning about people. And the thing about it is, if well, actually, you have to like. I mean, I'm gonna sound like a dick saying this here, but
No, do
I
it.
do consider myself to be well above average intelligence, and
Sure.
I'm because of my desire to seek out people and understand them. I have come to know and understand a lot of different types of people, and most people suck. um, So it's
Fair
like
point.
it's rough when you're like you're it almost feels like the thing that makes me me is almost kind of abusive towards me in the sense that
Mm.
like I really I love people, but also like just seeing what people do on a daily basis just it makes me just so distraught.
This
Yeah.
actually
You know?
reminds me of a conversation I had
Yeah.
with my uncle one time. They would always tell me like, treat everybody in the room like you're smarter than them or like better than them. And I was like, no, that's not how I think. But like that's how it allows you to I forgot what it did, what it was supposed to do in the first place. Because I don't know, like for me, when I
Oh,
think
wait a
about
minute,
like
a confidence thing.
something about
I don't know.
probably about confidence most likely, but it was something else about it as well. Like I forgot what the other part was, but I just for me, I just don't view myself as that. Like sometimes I'll actually dumb myself down. Not that like I'll like allow anybody to make fun of me because I am dumb or anything like that, but it's more of once well, what I think is like sometimes once you think you're better than somebody else or like you think that you are smarter and then you're proved wrong, it's like, oh, you could come falling down. But when you start at the bottom, you don't have to worry about going down any lower. It's the bottom for a reason. And like
There's
The
a
there's
trouble is I've never been wrong in my assessment, DJ, which is why
okay.
I'm so confident in saying it.
Yeah.
I've
But
never been wrong in my assessment.
I
But
think
like I do want to make clear that like I don't think that people are lesser for not being like
yeah.
super smart or whatever. I think that's dumb. I really hate that like there's almost this like societal thing that like oh if you're like really smart or whatever you like deserve to have a better life or you deserve to make more money or whatever. I think that's dumb. I
Yeah.
don't think people should be punished for like not being like people aren't going around and being like oh like you know there isn't like a nobody's gonna get mad at me for like not being like taller or whatever, right? It's like, oh, you're like, I mean, there are people who will, but those people are fucking weirdos, right? Like, but like,
they got
Period.
their own shit to work out.
exactly, like it's. I don't think I don't like it when. I guess that's sort of a that'll get into a whole fucking can of worms involving capitalism, but
Oh, sure, that's fair.
I
I
think that all people deserve to at least be able to enjoy their life, right? I don't think people should be punished for being stupid.
Hmm.
big agree there. I mean, if we exist to live, right? If the point of life is to be lived, then punishing people for living is actively like counterintuitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
No,
and
Kabu's actually
of course
six
you
nine,
can't.
Nampy, not 7'11".
I'm not 6'10". Um, I mean, my brother's pretty fucking big. He's six something, 6'3".
It's a big
Was either
man.
6'3" or 6'7". Either one is huge. I think it's 6'3". It's got to be 6'3". Yeah,
God
6'3"
freaking
sounds
dang.
right.
Big human.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm
Oh,
taller
shoot.
than DJ. I know that much.
Yes, I'm small. I'm small.
DJ is small boy.
Norwegian boy.
He's small lad.
I can't
I
believe
am
that Kavu isn't 7'11".
7'11".
I can't believe that Kavu isn't a fucking super soldier. His Nappy's image of me has been shattered.
I mean, you're
Like
not
I'm not.
Lady
I am
Dimitrescu height.
average Nappy. Like I'm not short, but I'm like not. I'm not some like Giga Chad either. In behavior sometimes, but never. Not in.
You
Not
just walk
physically.
around with funk music playing constantly.
No, you hear like the Moto Moto likes
Moto Moto like
you.
yeah.
Oh.
Why you play cake there? I am perfectly average height, and that is exactly what I like.
Hmm.
I like being unnoticeably small.
Bless.
It's pretty great.
No, average is great because like everything is made for your size.
Exactly.
It's like
I
oh
have zero
sick.
complaints.
I am a medium. Hell yeah.
Yes! Oh my god, it all fits. No, it's great. It's an amazing way to be.
I should probably answer though. Like, what makes me happy? I think
Please.
I don't have an answer for that. For me, like, I I I used to think there was one thing that's consistent, But currently, like as I am now, I think that right now is a day-to-day thing. Like, it's just, hmm. I'm not gonna say nothing makes me happy. There are just things that make me happy on certain days and things that don't. And like,
Sure.
I'm still living life, and that's fine. And I don't
Have
think,
to be something. Oh, sorry. Go for it.
yeah, basically, I guess you could say that. Like, I don't need a thing to consistently make me happy. It's just life. There's gonna be days that suck more. Like,
Mama told me there'd be days like this.
yep.
Nobody told me there'd be days like these.
And so I really just don't have an answer for you for that.
Yeah.
Because, like, you remember when we
Sure.
watched the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once? The
Mhm.
idea of something nihilism? I don't remember what it was.
Mhm.
But,
Nihilism?
like, idealistic nihilism? Like, if there is no meaning in life, we make meaning of it.
Well,
And,
that's a yeah. Okay, that's absurdism basically. It's the concept that you're just embracing the fact that there is no purpose until you give it one.
yeah.
It's yeah.
And, you know, maybe today my purpose is just to be happy that I'm with friends just talking. Maybe tomorrow it's going to be me sleeping and enjoying just having food. You know, like,
Awesome.
I don't think I need to make life so difficult that it has to have this one answer that works just for me. Because, you know, my answer is not going to work for everybody, and maybe my answer will change. That's kind of how life is. Like, sure, you need some people really need like a really strong, consistent thing. And one thing we know is that like I'm not really consistent. I'm working on it, but I think I enjoy the fact that life isn't always going to be consistent, at least at this point, because it gives me something to deal with, to overcome. Because like I don't like it when life gets stale. Like watching myself do this exact.
Existentialism. That's the word. Existentialism.
Sure.
Sorry.
Sorry.
But like
Would have bugged me too. I get it.
Yeah.
I really just hate it when, like, I don't hate it. I just don't like it when I see myself doing the exact same thing, thinking there's gonna be a different outcome, you know? And like,
Yeah, the whole insanity thing and all that.
oh yeah,
Like you're stagnating is rough. I mean, for real, it's rough, and it's complicated in your adulthood, right? Because
as a kid, you're
you go
always
through.
like, as a kid, you're always like pointed, like, oh yeah, you're doing really great and all that. Like, you're gonna have gold marks, you're gonna have a great future, and future hits. It's like, what happened to that?
Yeah, well, I mean, the whole like gifted kid syndrome thing
Ugh,
is
Yeah.
a whole hell of a thing, and there's only so much that you can do with that, right?
I really
We
didn't
talked
care
about
about
this
that
before, I
system.
think.
I feel like we
Yeah.
did.
'Cause-
Yeah, because I feel like I mentioned, and I think you may have both agreed with this, but like I you know the whole yeah I'm smart thing that I was talking about earlier, like it was very easy to get through high school, right?
Mhm.
Like putting in like zero effort just because I was above the average, right? So it was pretty easy to just kind of coast and get really good grades by just being smart. But the thing about being smart is once you get into a college that's more at your level, right? They hit you with actually having to work hard to accomplish something,
Yeah,
and you don't know how to do that yet.
yeah.
Oh, I had a different situation, but you know, we'll continue. Because like,
Hey, go for it.
if we talk about college, I came in like knowing jack-ish about my major. If I'm being honest, like I had no knowledge about music theory. I failed classes in the beginning, and I think that's just how I learned. Like, I came to the acceptance of like I don't need perfect grades. I don't have a mother that hounds me about being perfect all the time, and like accepting the fact that like failure is a thing. You learn from it, and I'm not gonna crash from it and like, oh, this is the end. The only thing I'm worried about is that I'm paying for this, you know? But other than that,
Yeah,
it's like at the end of the
that's
day,
huge though, DJ.
it's a
That's
letter.
huge. Not being afraid of failure is like massive.
Absolutely. I mean, that's something that like people in life rarely actually get to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
one of those achievements that is not a super common one. You get like a 0.1 achievement there. What's funny to me is I felt like back in school, like I was also, I think, one of those people that was like, all things considered, school is not the most complicated thing I could be doing.
Mhm.
And I really liked that. I really enjoyed the act of, meeting a challenge and rising to it and making it happen. Um, and it all made sense. I really loved that environment, and school was everything that I ever wanted in that regard. And I realized in a horrifying turn of events after leaving college that I'd gotten really, really good at doing exactly what academia was supposed to do. And that upon needing to apply some of those things in the real world, such as retaining knowledge that you learned for a test and then promptly forgot, um, oh God, I'm up the creek, right?
Mhm.
Like what am I gonna do now that I have all this great information and my grades weren't awful, but like you ask me freaking which color the Union versus the Confederacy was, and I still have about a 30% chance of messing that up. Like,
Blue was the Union, gray was the Confederacy.
I would have
I
said
mean,
red.
Lord knows I that's probably what I would have answered, but we'll never know.
I have a fun fact about uniforms of that era, but
Please.
you continue. You continue. Sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. It literally just that moment of realization post leaving academia of like I'd gotten really, really good at doing exactly what that was supposed to be. And then promptly realized that after leaving school, that was not relevant anymore.
Mhm.
And that once you're in the workforce, the things that you needed to be learning were things that were more like how to give a presentation, how to quickly and effectively learn to file things in a way that was going to allow you to remember where you stored them. Like these are tools that they do not teach you in school necessarily unless you take the time to learn them because you're thinking about using them in the future.
Mhm.
And that was just like a whiplash of shock to me.
Which is
Which
wild because it would require you to already know what you would need in the future.
See, I feel like when it comes to school, school teaches you how to fall in line. It doesn't teach you how to excel, how to like really step it up, really, or anything like that, or any like life experiences per se. It's just like this is what you're supposed to do, and you're supposed to do as you're told, and that's it. That's all we really get from education.
I am gonna say something controversial.
That's fine.
for it.
I think you're wrong.
Okay.
I know that's like the popular, that is very much the popular claim that like, oh hey, like, school doesn't teach you anything that's like useful later on, and so it teaches you how to like, be one of the pack and all that. And I think there's some amount of truth to that in that like they do worm certain things in there. At the end of the day, the government gets to decide what the curriculum is. The government is discerning, they're discerning in deciding as to what it is you need to know,
Mhm.
which obviously there's some level of fall in line there. But at the same time, I think that if taught by good teachers, public school does a very good job of teaching people as they're growing how to learn and how to express like their opinions and the things they've learned. Particularly, I think back on like the English classes and whatnot, right, where like everybody phoned those in. I didn't, because I don't know, I'm a weirdo. But like people are constantly being like, oh, like we didn't learn how to like speak or like argue or whatever. It's like, yeah, you did. You learned that in English. That's what all that logos, pathos, and ethos crap was about. That's what the essays were about.
Sure.
I
Was
still,
supposed to be, at least.
I,
It really was it's dumb because it's like, I 100% believe it's you get out of it as much as you put into it, but you have no reason to believe that you need to put any more into it than the bare minimum when you're a kid. You don't know what you're going to need. You don't know what's important. And as far as you're aware from like popular media, it's just kind of something you have to go through and then get out of.
Yeah.
So like you're not going to be going out of your way to like take extra opportunities to learn how to do something you might be interested in. It just
I
doesn't
mean,
happen.
Sure. I think you've hit the nail like straight on the head there, honestly. Like there is something inherently like you have all of the tools you need. It's not like going to school does not provide you with those tools. It is exclusively the fact that like yeah, you don't realize that that's what you should be learning, right? There's this secret third thing that they're not telling you that you're supposed to be learning, and not for any reason beyond just like maybe you should know that this is what you're supposed to be learning, but no one does. Unless you
Mhm.
wanted to be like a doctor since you were 8, no one really does.
Yeah.
And so the, learning to public speak for in complete honesty, I learned that from improv and D&D.
Hell yeah.
Like Dungeons and Dragons and my improv club that I did in high school were 100% where I learned to public speak because like I didn't take any public speaking courses. Um, but sure as shit, did that give you skills to help you learn to talk on your feet and adapt and improvise? And wow, can I say that in my personal career, that is huge and very important. Um, but like the stuff that I learned from my English classes, how to write an essay, while certainly useful, is mostly useful now in the context of being like, okay, so now I know how to formulate this presentation so that it can be the most persuasive thing. If I mean, but I'm not thinking about it in the context of a 3-paragraph essay, right? I'm just thinking about it and like, all right, so this is what I need to say next to make this happen.
Mm. I always sucked with the English papers. I tried my best, but like I think it's also just like how I grew up. I really just struggled with like arguing for myself. Like sure, I can make good points like every now and then. Like that's how I spoke all the time. And I think that's why I always struggled in papers was that fact that I couldn't back it up even more. Like I have a good point. That's it. But I can't explain my point.
I mean, I guess that is where confidence becomes important, right? The
Mhm.
confidence that the thing that you're saying is in fact correct and that no one can contest that.
Mm.
Yeah. And a really good, easy way to do that in writing, and this was like a trick that I learned back when I was in like middle school, is just don't use the word I think. Just say
Fair.
it. State it as a fact. Say
This
it.
is
It comes off much stronger from like a emotional standpoint from that ethos. And it also kind of like provides a certain air of authority, even if they if they don't background check your ass to figure out whether or not you're actually an expert.
I mean, hell, you say anything with confidence and people will believe you. If I've started talking
Exactly.
about the fact that like there is currently a outcropping of information that chickens are going to give you salmonella in any context, and so you should really stop eating chicken. Um, that is a fact that I pulled out of my ass and is not real. And you
Yeah.
should not believe that, but saying it with enough conviction and without any sort of like waver in the voice, kind of started thinking like, well, damn, maybe that does make sense.
Yeah. Especially if you bring it up contextually.
For sure.
At the same time, obviously there are going to be people who are going to immediately like smell
Yeah.
something's up because like I mean aside from the fact that you're like, oh, this is an example of me telling a lie, right? Aside
Right.
from that, I know enough about bacterium to
Chimikin.
know
Hmm.
that if you cook it, it dies. Like no matter what.
Exactly.
Like, so it's like
This,
this cannot be true.
this factoid relates exclusively to consuming chicken raw.
Exactly. Like
Yeah,
that
no,
is
it's
impossible.
yes.
But a
Impossible.
lot of people don't necessarily know that or understand like the mechanics of salmonella.
I mean, folks injected themselves with heartworm medicine for horses to avoid COVID, so
Which is funny because both, I would say, even both sides of that are kind of wrong in the sense
oh.
that, like, okay, so here's the thing, like the antiviral, like dewormer, right?
Hmm.
It when you hear dewormer, it's like, okay, so that's anti-parasitic. That
Hmm.
makes sense to like not actually be helpful with COVID, but Um, I don't remember the exact details on it, so I would actually have to feel free to background check this yourself. But the way I remember hearing about it later on is that it did actually have a good amount of antiviral like potential,
Seriously.
but like it would kill like any virus because it has a high potential of killing you. Like this shit's not for you. It was not made for you. Like it's a really strong antiviral, but like you should not be taking it. This is graded for horses. Like it's not like we didn't have it available. It's just it's not something that's safe for humans to take. It's like saying, hey, you know what else would kill COVID? Heat. Enough heat to kill
Standing
you.
directly in the sunlight with your mouth open because UV will totally kill the stuff inside you. But yeah, like it is not incorrect that heat also does kill COVID to an extent. So
And it wasn't any. I mean, it was also the sort of situation where like this is only gonna it's only gonna help you if you already have COVID.
Something
And at
that
that point, like you've already been infected. Like this is not a vaccine. We still needed a vaccine.
something I wanted to say real quick was that I feel like because Nappy's still in school, I feel like we're teaching Nappy stuff about English things, and I'm like, huh,
oh
okay.
geez.
You know, Namp. I bet Nampy's smart as fuck.
I mean, I do not know enough about Nappy to confirm or deny, but I believe they are
It's
smart.
okay. I suck at English. It's okay, Nampy.
It's okay. I
You're the
did
world's
too.
greatest detective.
It was my worst subject. For some reason, I did really well in STEM and arts, but that's it. English? Oh, no. History? Fine, I can do that.
Fun. I don't know. I was always the English nerd. I think that language is one of the most amazing things that we have because it
Oh, yeah,
creates
sure.
impressions. It gives us the ability to relate. I don't know. There is so much that is magical about language and communication, and I think that it's just one of the coolest goddamn things that we have. Which is nerdy as hell, and I acknowledge that.
Chaos, I really enjoy how often you are 100% on my wavelength. Like,
Gotcha, man.
Jesus Christ.
I gotta be on the opposite wavelength, you know? Gotta be on the balance. I can't be with all you. It can't be always English, you know? What about Spanish? Or, you know,
Hey.
Chinese? Or, you know,
Oh man, I would love to be better at both
Mandarin?
Spanish and Chinese. I
Spanish would be really helpful for, like, I mean, that's another thing is all of the conversations we've had this evening, we're coming at this from the particular epistemology of being Americans, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So, like, a lot of our sentiments on, like,
Me,
freedom and individuality
American?
are very,
Who?
very steeped in American values. Like,
Yeah.
even if you know, I know it's like a fucking meme among the young people, and I mean, anybody really at this point to, like, just be like, wah America, right? And like there's a lot to be wah America about, but at the end of the day, culturally we are Americans. Like our thought processes, like we can feel that way about the United States because of values we were taught by living here, right? Or values that we developed by experiencing, I guess, this kind of society.
Yeah.
And like knowing that there are other places that are different, for better or for worse.
When it comes to like American standpoint, I feel like we have a lot to think about in our own sense. You know, we have our own struggles, but like we just have way too much information. Like other countries or other places, they might not have like the exact same things we deal with on a daily basis because, you know, we talk about like America and other countries being more developed, right? And it's just like, but then again, everybody has their own struggles to a degree. Some of it may seem easier than others because of how we view it, but
what the fuck is a kilometer?
No.
Oh god, I couldn't tell you if I tried.
It's 1,000 meters. Kilometer. Kilo is Latin.
Ah.
It's 1,000 meters.
What about millimeters?
That is
millimeter.
1,000th of a meter? No, the other way.
No, it's
either
1,000.
it's a thousand.
It's 1,000. I was like, yes, you're right.
No, yeah, okay, cool.
And a centimeter is a
Hundredth
of a meter.
Centi.
I'm actually very proud of myself for knowing that.
Yeah.
Just clip us be like, these are Americans.
Yeah, no, this is us trying. Dude, I saw something the other day that was just really amusing to me. I acknowledge that if you quizzed me on European or any country that is not America, and honestly, even American geography, I would just be abysmal. I am not good at geography, and I acknowledge this. But it was a conversation between some people from, I think it was like just from the UK. And they were talking about like the fact that you ask an American to name, a part of Britain or something, and they're always going to say, London or England or one of the things that people know, um, and just like miss a vast majority of other places that are there because we just
Berkshire.
don't know that they're right. Like, a name that we're familiar with. And the idea that with that comes this very strange thing of Americans having our own viewpoint on how far away something is and how reasonable it is to travel multiple hours to get to that thing.
Oh, we're fucking huge. Like that's the thing is they don't get well that's okay, so like they like to make the joke like, oh, you don't know about all these places. Like all your places are within like 15 minutes of each other, all right? Like we have cities the size of some of your countries.
That is
It's
so
just
true.
like, it just, you sit there thinking about it like, listen, man, I have to drive 2 hours to 3 hours if I want to see my parents. And I will see my parents about like once a month if I have any say in the matter, because I desperately love them and would love to see them. And that is just how it's always going to be. If it is ridiculous to drive 2.5 to 3 hours to see your family, then my goodness, that
Hmm.
boggles my mind.
Well, do I have a
But
shocker for you? Kind of deal.
it's,
Well, that's the other
but
thing, right? Is like you look at someone like, okay, so we're all Americans in this room,
yes,
but for me,
Really?
it's midnight. For you two,
Oh,
that's
what,
true.
9 o'clock, something like that?
Yeah, it's
yeah.
like
Like
9:15.
that's another thing, right?
Yeah.
We have time zones, we have every geographic like we have every form of geography, with the exception
Yeah.
of like I guess a true desert, but like we have if you wanted to see every possible biome that this great earth has available to you, you could see them all within the United States. There's like no actual like you don't have to leave. You really don't.
You could just go anywhere in the US and see everything that you need.
Too
And
much.
it just it boggles the mind how vast this country is. But also, can I ask a question based off of an earlier statement because I am desperately curious?
For a second, I thought you were going to
Okay.
say, can I get an amen for some reason?
Can I get an amen? Uh
Hallelujah.
no, you said you worked at a Tim Hortons?
What is Tim Hortons
Yes.
again? I forgot. I've been trying to ask that
So
this whole
Tim
time.
Hortons, to my understanding, is a Canadian-based
Yes,
donut
it
shop.
it is originally. It's a they call themselves a cafe and bake shop now, but they've changed hands many a time. However, 20, 22, 23 years ago, or actually probably more now, Jesus, 20 something years ago, they were expanding into the United States. So mostly in the Northeast. So you're talking like Vermont, New York, that sort of area, and they needed to get franchisees. So what they kind of aimed for was a lot of like dual citizens, so like Canadian Americans, that sort of thing. And my father was one of such, and the opportunity kind of fell into my new mother and his lap, and they were like, fuck it, let's go for this, right? And over the course of 2+ decades, they um, operated and owns the buildings of one and then two Tim Hortons franchisee buildings. So 2 stores. Did very good.
Wow.
Yeah, it was horrible. After honestly, after the first couple years, even as like a small child, I could tell it was not making anyone happy. Um, it's one of those things where like it gave them a much as time went on, right? Obviously, it wasn't super profitable at first, but as time went on, it gave them a much greater ability to like provide, obviously.
Hmm.
But it ate all of their time. They were always miserable. I just remember the stacks and stacks of paperwork on every surface in our house that like my mom had to go through, and it's like I would just say to like anyone thinking about getting into the restaurant business, like talk to some people like that have been in it for a long time. Ask them, especially if you're going to be a franchisee, right? Ask them about like what their experience was, especially if they got out, right? And like ask them the hard questions. Ask them like, "Hey, what about this sucks?" Because there's a lot about it that sucks, and especially if you're in a franchise, they can fuck you over whenever they want. They can. This was okay. So this is a quote from the fucking Sopranos, but the restaurant business it's like taking care of an elephant. You got to feed it and feed it and feed it all the freaking time, and sooner or later it shits on your head.
Hmm.
And that's restaurants.
Oh my god. God, I have to watch The Sopranos.
It will always ask for more.
Meanwhile, I grew up in a nail salon, but that's it.
That is the most Asian thing I've ever heard.
No, not just an Asian thing. It's more of like a Vit thing. Like you have to have at least somebody in like the nail hair business.
Yep.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
watching
Nappy.
something
I'm
the
not.
other day.
We're not kidding. You really do have to drive 45 minutes to get groceries sometimes,
Oh yeah,
depending on where you are.
like
If you live in like a giant city or something, like sure there might be some place that like for like small groceries, but not like for big. Sorry, you were saying chaos?
what? Oh no, it just like you're absolutely right. Like it is. This place is huge and it's ridiculous, and there is so much between everything. Uh, I have a grocery store near my house, but I can only access it through like driving to it, and that is sad. That is very depressing. And I acknowledge the fact that not everyone can be lucky enough to live directly next to a grocery store. But god damn it, I was getting pretty used to it.
Yeah, but even like the way that like towns in the United States are built, you don't even necessarily want to live directly next to a grocery store just because of like how shitty of an area it's probably gonna be.
Fair
Like it's
point.
gonna be all pavement, it's all gonna be parking lots because that's how we build our fucking cities. There are a lot of like really there's a lot of like good YouTube channels like resources for this sort of stuff. If you ever want to get into like looking at the way different countries do like urban planning, and I guess like the history of the direction that the United States moved that made us very, very car dependent. Not just bikes is a very good channel to check out. There's a couple others that are slipping my mind right now because DJ's stream, I guess, has a curse where it fries your brain.
Particularly towards the males. Okay, nightmare demons. Okay, chaos. We're
Oh, you
sleeping
want to
tonight.
sleep?
Yep. I got
Yep,
bit.
we're sleeping. We're sleeping.
I'm getting bit.
I did not realize
Okay.
how late.
They're mad. I'm just gonna dive in the water real quick. Take some calories. Are you in bed yet?
Yes, I'm in bed.
Alright, let me dive into bed before they try to attack me again.
Please, I hear them swooping over my head.
Well,
Oh, thank goodness.
I woke up to it slapping me. Alright, you know, you guys can burn. You just deserve to burn for a reason.
Don't go too long without sleep, folks. The phantoms will get you.
Pretty much.
Setting up the inside of my house. Building a house is the best part of playing Minecraft. Fight me.
No, that's
Change my mind.
100%. It's just Legos.
Oh, I never have time to finish my house, if I'm being honest. I feel like every time we do a realm, or like I'm building a house, my house is the last thing that comes first. Like, I feel like building a village is the first thing. So that's why this time I was like, Chaos, can you help me build a village or make houses for them? Because I know this is going to take a long time. No one knows what I'm building, and that's a surprise. But besides that
So-
point. But
I
like,
absolutely can, but I have to finish my thing first.
exactly. Like, they take too
I'm
long.
sorry, I have priorities.
It's alright. I'm not complaining about your priorities.
You could.
I
You would
could.
be well within your rights to do so.
But do I want to? No.
Thank you. I appreciate that about you.
Nancy says, in Mex, there's always a store with about everything you'll need and a little ways away, and there's food vendors. The only reason you need to travel far is Home Depot kind of stuff or a specific food. Yeah, I mean, if you're in a city, I think that's honestly, even in the United States, especially if you're in a major city, there's going to be like some kind of corner store, like convenience store, but like it's going to be the prices are going to be like jacked up,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not going to be getting things at like a reasonable quantity, right? You're going to be like, it's like, oh, I need fucking. You're not going to be like, oh, I can go get like
Sponge.
a bunch of oatmeal or whatever, right? No, you can get like a fucking a cup of oatmeal for $5, like. Yeah,
Ah,
no,
yes,
the price of
Maruchan cup of
convenience.
oatmeal.
Maruchan cup of oatmeal. That's actually not a bad idea.
It really isn't. Dude, I was reading about the guy that invented ramen the other day.
Mm-hmm.
What a fascinating dude. Like,
Didn't we
have
learn
y'all ever gone down that rabbit hole?
Chaos? Haven't
That specific one? No.
Chaos? Didn't we do that already for our food history class that we had together? Like,
I'm sure we
we
did,
remember
but
like we
again,
covered a
Lord
section
knows it's
of like
been a couple of years.
we covered a section of ramen, and do you remember that really funny ramen clip?
Remind me.
I can't remember it. I remember. I just know that we watched it, but it was
You
pretty
just know it
funny.
was funny.
Yeah, because like I think it was like about the guy how to like eat ramen or something, and like that was the whole thing, and it just kept on getting wrong and wrong. I don't like it
I
was
do
just.
not recall this.
Or was it a day you weren't there?
That might have been the day I skipped. The singular day I skipped.
Okay, when you say the singular day you skipped, I'm sorry, but like we're referencing that it's not food history anymore. That was for the objects in everyday life class.
Fair. Okay, but I didn't skip a lot in
DJ,
that class either. I wasn't a person that skipped class.
The,
DJ, refer back to the sentiments that Chaos expressed earlier about learning things, passing a test, and promptly pushing them out of her mind.
but see, Chaos, we
Oh
remember
god, you
like the
remember.
events that happened though, not like what's been taught. Like if we're
Nah,
talking.
fam. They go hand in hand.
Like if we're talking about person who like ditches class, I think that was me because I really couldn't figure out my mental health then, and I still can't. So, well, I'm getting
Same,
better at
fam.
it.
It doesn't feel like it's gotten that much better, but like,
You know, it's
I
Oh,
no, but I want to say 100%. Like, you are doing way better, I think, in terms of that these days than you were before, and I have to give you kudos for that.
oh yeah, thank you. But like, oh gosh, I can't believe how many times I would miss class, and just the one day still let like, because the class was like you can't miss a day. If you miss a day and we have a test, then like you don't get the points for that, and then like Chaos had to get a day gone because Chaos had something to attend. And like they're like no, and it's just the one day, and I skipped like half the classes, and I come in for almost every time they had a quiz for
Yep.
attendance credit.
I missed like the singular quiz for attendance credit because they really only did the one. And I am still bitter about this. I am
it's
so
like not the first.
bitter about this.
I've heard this one. I've heard
Yes,
this
we,
one.
I
we talked
know.
about it before, but
This
like
is
it,
something
Oh,
I've
no.
discussed because I am so upset about it.
Mhm.
Oh,
You need closure. You
I
need to
will
go
never
back to
get
that
closure.
professor. You
DJ
need to
has
beat their ass.
uncanny luck to
Okay.
be like there for things that are important, but like when it comes to like I have really weird luck. Like it's really good to bail me out of trouble, and that's it. Or no, that's it. But like it's good for it's really weirdly good for some reason.
I will say that like you do have an uncanny kind of luck in some contexts. Um, what I'll say about getting closure on that particular teacher is that that's not exactly something that I would seek to do regardless, because that particular teacher, let me tell you, had a problem with using the word
Oh, yes.
over and over and over again,
Um,
like a freaking machine gun coming out of this lady's mouth. She was incapable of saying a single thing that did not end in and it drove me up the wall.
Oh, yes, I remember. Because, like, Chaos has, like, certain auditory things that bother her.
Misophonia, baby, it sucks.
oh,
We love having a neurological condition that makes us angry when we hear certain sounds.
you know what sound? It does it for me. You know
One
the
more time?
sound of someone like biting down on a fork?
Oh, yeah, sure, that's fair.
Ugh.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean, that one sucks,
I
right?
don't, I
Like
don't,
that
Sucks.
is an awful noise.
I don't know the sound. I only noticed the pain of me biting on a fork before.
Just that tink of just
Oh,
bone on like silverware is just so. Ugh.
Bad.
Hate it.
It's a
Hate
bad
it so
thing.
much.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of what it is. The funny thing is, I was listening to a podcast about this the other day. If folks are unfamiliar with the concept of misophonia, here's the crash course. Essentially, it means that certain sounds, apropos of absolutely nothing, cause you like physical, somatic pain, and that can lead to just kind of blind rage at times, depending on how you react to it. And with all of that in mind, it can cause even the most docile and nice people to lash out in ways that are completely uncharacteristic because they're just like, I physically can't handle this. This is frequently hand in hand with a lot of neurodivergency. It's comorbid. So there's your fun little crash course. Um, and it freaking sucks. It's not great because you can be having a conversation with someone and then notice that they do a certain thing as they're talking or that they have a certain tick and you just will never not notice it again and get angrier and angrier as you talk to them or more overwhelmed, and then you just have to leave and you can't explain why you have to leave. It's the worst fucking thing. It is actually awful.
I remember there was like a sound that
Um
I couldn't do, and then I was like, then I started accidentally doing it a lot, and then I was like, nope, gotta stop because Chaos doesn't like the sound.
No, I feel like a really common one for a lot of people is probably like whistling or
Sure,
like
yeah. Whistling will do it.
Oh,
tongue clicking, snapping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sharp consonants are the one that always gets me. Like, if you're whispering sucks because like people are trying to have a nice conversation and they're trying not to bother people, and I'm totally cool with that. And then the problem is that as they whisper, the really sharp consonants like S and T and P and K come through,
Stretched, yeah.
and it's the worst. I don't know why I got on this. There was a reason that I got on it, but I cannot for the life of me remember what it was.
you were doing a crash course.
It's like this is the thing I was trying to get at, and I don't remember what. Anyway.
Wild that you went with the name Chaos. I was just gonna say, oh, I use Kavu because I like hard consonants and soft vowels. I wonder if it's
I wonder if she's born with it.
There's gotta be more to it.
There's
Maybe it's
absolutely
Maybelline.
more to it, although I'd be curious to hear what other people think there is more to it.
I do wonder how much of it is like the pattern, or like even as you said, like when when you lower the volume and you do the whisper thingy, right?
Mhm.
It does. Those hard consonants are the only thing that comes through, and that's kind of annoying in the same way that like if you hear a phone call, right, and you can only because it's someone else's phone call, you can only hear one half of the conversation. That shit's infuriating.
For sure.
You know,
It's
I
a
almost
very
wonder if there's like an acute version of that.
You may be onto something there. I'll say that like one of the things that it definitely bases around is the response that some people get to ASMR.
Oh god. Oh, I
And
hate ASMR.
okay, so that thing that you get when you listen to ASMR and you're like, I hate this. I don't know why people like this. This makes me uncomfortable, and it either I don't feel the tingling thing that people are feeling, or it just like it doesn't make sense to me. That whole thing is 100% valid for starters. But also that feeling of getting ASMR is almost like inseparably linked to misophonia in that regard. Like it's the same part of your brain that does that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very hard to explain why. But
I don't need someone to fucking lick my ears with their microphone. Ugh.
you don't love just being slurped.
No.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
something and then I forgot, and now I'm annoyed by it.
Oh, were we talking about school or
No, it was something about hearing and then something sound and then then it just
Loud sounds, soft sounds, music.
it'll come back later or not. It's fine.
All right.
If it wasn't important, it's gone now for a reason.
Aw.
Hmm.
I need more trapdoors. Let me know if you need to sleep.
No, I'll be fine. I just need stuff to grow. It's taking too long. Cause I need a lot of bamboo. I didn't realize. You know what? I made a giant circle with like a radius of 24.
How many days do you have left to work, DJ, before your 2 weeks is up?
Technically like a week if you think about it.
All right.
My last one is a Friday. Cause I'm not showing up Saturday. Cause sorry, I had to clap that. If that came through, I'm sorry. But like, I forgot. That reminds me how pissed off I was about that. So I asked like my manager, like, hey, is it okay if I get this day off? It's a blackout day, unfortunately. And like I probably won't be able to make it. But is it okay if I could try to get this day off? And then they were like, no, sorry, it's a blackout day. I can't approve anybody. And so like
Isn't Black Friday coming up? Yeah, no, I
no,
doubt it.
I asked for Saturday, not the Black Friday.
Oh shit, you're quitting Target right before Black Friday. You are a scumbag.
No. I'm quitting after Black Friday, actually.
Okay,
So
okay.
it's like the 27th.
Okay, so you're getting them through that. That's
Yeah.
a class act. Never mind, you're
But
fine.
I asked for like the 26th off because I had already like planned like maybe 2 months ago, and I had to hang out with like a close friend of mine who never visits NorCal. Like this is the first time, and I gotta show her around. And like I tried to explain that, and like they scheduled me a full shift, knowing gosh darn well I ain't showing up. And now that my 2 weeks are in, I'm not showing up. I'm trying to get it covered, but you know.
Yeah, I would say do what you can to get it covered. And I mean, you can be straight up with them, like, hey, I'm not coming to that.
I think they
So,
already
you know, I
Can't
mean,
make me.
what are you gonna do? Fire me?
What
gaslight,
was that? Have
gatekeep,
you
girl
guys seen the
boss.
dude who's like doing the he's a really fun DJ.
Not this
And
DJ. This DJ is not fun.
different DJ. This one, he's got a song that's been going relatively viral recently, which is essentially called "F you, boss, I'm late."
Also,
And it's
okay,
like
Nampy.
one of the lines in it is just like, "What are you gonna do? Fire me? There's no one else here, bitch." Oh, so funny.
You know, when you become such an important like part of work, and then you become like untouchable practically. Ugh.
It's nice to have job security. Feels good.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't know what that's like anymore.
Oh, jeez.
I wouldn't know. I put in my heart and soul into my first job, and I got fired from that one. Can't believe
Like
this.
mine is more like I have no clue if they're gonna renew my contract anytime they renew it. Like I never find out until the last minute. It's like, geez, am I gonna have a job tomorrow? I don't know.
Gosh.
That feels like a not great way of going about business. I have to
Yeah.
be
It's not
honest.
terrible, but like I'm kind of in golden handcuffs at the moment because like
Kinky,
it
but
pays pretty well.
Mm, we do love the money.
True.
I need rose bushes.
want rose bushes? Or do you
I
need...
think I have rose bushes.
Okay, as long as you have bone meal, you can always duplicate it. If they're two height, you know, you can always replicate it. If they're one height, you can't. Gotta go find it in the wild.
Warren that I had. Yes, I do. I have lots. Lots and lots.
Lots and lots and lots of methamphetamines.
I have
Methamphetamines?
exactly 0 methamphetamines.
Can
Exactly a cool 0.
0? Okay.
confirm.
See, this is what happens when I don't think when I talk. I just speak. I'm only laying in bed, so I get to just like lay in bed. Don't mind me.
I'm like, it's at some point DJ like wanted to keep this like stream like completely PG, but then he just
Oh,
like
yeah.
let me in here all the time.
Well, I let it slide because I'm just like,
He's just
as
giving
long
up.
as
He's just like, what about
as-
methamphetamine?
as long as it's me.
Methamphetamines.
I mean, I'm not gonna like drop a slur in here. Like that's not gonna happen.
Well, it's not like you drop slurs in general. I hope.
Exactly.
We hate that. We're a
Just
family show.
making up my own slurs.
Oh, jeez.
Oh no.
Just nonsense stuff, but saying it with enough conviction that you think it's real.
Oh my god. No.
So, oh, that's gotta be like
That-
some sort of angry. There's a Game Grumps bit about that I love.
By the way, Chaos, how is the animation coming along? It's like,
Oh, damn.
you
Which
told me,
one? The turtle?
yeah, you told me that it was in progress, and I was like, Chaos is busy. Chaos said like they finish it here and there, and I'm like, it's been a bit. Can I ask?
I'll be completely honest. There's a lot of other shit that I've been having to
Yep,
take care of, but I'll
that's
make sure that it goes back on my plate.
sorry. I just wanted to
It's all
know,
good. I appreciate the reminder.
if you need to take the time for it, it's fine. I just want to
No,
check
it's
in.
it's literally just that like 8 different commissions came in and it got completely sidetracked, which is super not your fault, and I apologize for that.
Because I remember like you always mention like doing maybe less commissions, because like you do a lot. If I'm being
I,
honest, you kind of shove a lot on your plate.
I don't even know how to explain it, dude. It's like the compulsion, you know?
Is it because you can't say no?
Oh, absolutely. It's because I can't say no. I am physically incapable of saying no.
Yeah, you're saying it now.
I mean,
Sorry, the dad
I'm
jokes.
saying I'll do it later. That's not no. If
Oh,
it were no, I'd be straight up telling you, like, yeah, no, that's not going to work out, man. I'm sorry.
just kind of like
But
timestamp it. Or really just be like, I'm sorry, but I can do this in the future. But if you need somebody else to do it, I recommend someone else to do it.
mm,
I'm gonna do a faux pas real quick here. Chaos, how old are you?
am 24.
Okay, so
Chaos is
I'm
this.
gonna let you in on a little bit of knowledge that it took me till 27 to figure out. Um, that is a symptom of toxic people pleasing.
Oh, is it? Do tell.
Chaos is like, you really?
And
I
you're gonna
didn't
want to
know.
you're gonna want to nip that sooner than later.
Is that so?
Is that so?
I will
Yeah,
not
no,
go.
you're probably not wrong about that, because God freaking damn, it's a life we live.
Yeah, once it starts bleeding over into your work and your relationships and whatnot, eventually you kind of realize, yeah, maybe this is actually something you need to do something about and not just a quirky thing about you.
That is very fair. Honestly, you're not wrong. I think that being able to have some control over that would probably not be remiss.
No.
Yeah,
It's just like, sorry, what's up?
it's just like really important to know when to put yourself first, and just like, you only have so much time in this world. you know?
True, but like, just listen, man. Doing work is great. Getting paid is great. Helping people out feels pretty great. It's all
Mhm.
good stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely like
But see, you gotta think
you
of,
are not wrong that that is something that I should probably address
Mhm.
but you also gotta
sooner
think
rather
about it
than
as
later.
like, if you end up taking too much and you're unable to do anything, you're gonna feel bad, really bad for not being able to do it, you know?
That is true.
So it's
And
like,
it's fine to get good chemicals from service. That's fine. Like, I think that's a reasonable and healthy thing. It's when it starts to be at your own detriment and you're like, this is okay. This is
Mm,
fine. This is overwhelming me, but it's fine because it's for someone else.
mhm,
That's when it's gone too far.
yeah,
for sure.
don't become the dog meme. You don't want to be sitting on fire.
This is fine.
Exactly.
And then a few panels later, once realization comes in, this is not fine. Everything's not okay.
How did
Yeah.
let it get this bad? Jesus Christ. Yeah,
Mhm.
that the follow up to that image is actually I
It,
find that very interesting because like I think he made it years afterward. Um, but it is decidedly like a oh yeah no that's this is probably the correct reaction to be having
mhm.
in the situation where you find that your house is on fire. Oak stairs, should I be making them birch? I don't think I should. I think I should keep them as oak.
One more question that I would like to cover is, have you guys ever done like a letter to yourselves, or like done something where it's like a time capsule to like see how you're doing in the future? Like,
Oh,
cause like,
yeah. They never they never work, but yeah.
like
Attempted.
I have a small story I would like to tell before I talk about this, well, with you guys. But like, in sixth grade, like sixth grade camp, where I guess like the big field trip for when you go to sixth grade, like I went off into the mountains like with camp counselors, and I guess I wrote a letter to myself for the future, and I wrote it to my mother, like to give to me later on, and it it really like smacked me across the face because it was like, how are you doing? Are you doing good? Are you, like, is everything better? And it was like, oh frick, like during that time period of my life, I was like, oh no, no, everything's wrong. Like it made me really sad, like to see like how different I was then and now, but also
Hmm.
just like asking me like, are you pursuing the things you want to pursue? And at least that's what I remember from it. I don't remember what the letter is anymore, but it's somewhere. But have I done the things that my younger self wanted to do,
It's a good question.
There's two edges to that, DJ. On one, you should be, setting your own goals and pursuing them. I think
Oh yeah.
there's a lot to be said about that. But on the other hand, sixth grade DJ doesn't exist anymore. That kid's dead. All right, like you don't owe him anything. Like nothing. That kid was a sixth grader. He was fucking dumb. All right, like
Just
children are stupid. All right, you don't owe that kid a fucking thing. So you have to think about what you want now,
oh
not
yeah.
what sixth grade DJ wanted.
But the funny thing is that like the things that I wanted in the past are still things that I still want to pursue today. Like
Well,
sure,
that's
there's
good.
a bit more like other things, but it's like the past me has the plans for what they want still, and that's still something that still sticks with me. And I asked this question because like Chaos and I actually have done one. We need
Hmm.
I think one more year, and then I send it out to everybody. Like
Yeah,
for one of my I think my 20th birthday, right?
something like.
Like I um had friends over and we did like this thing of like in 5 years I'll see what they say to me, and then 5 years what they say to themselves, I send that to them. So it's kind of like a little time capsule kind of situation. I am curious though, like what did I say to myself? I'd have not looked at it.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, I'd forgotten that we did that. Like, I know now retrospectively, like, oh yeah, I think we did, but I had forgotten. And honestly, like, I'd written stuff in the past for those kind of things, also at like camps. Usually those kind of like team building, like, what would you like to be in the future?
Yeah.
Um,
Did you ever like
but
do what your younger self wanted, or you know, I guess what expectations, like if you had any or not? Like what did you say? What would you even say to
I
your older self? Like I
I
guess.
had a conversation. Oh, sorry, go for it.
Oh no, go ahead. Just go ahead for now, and I'll jump in later.
I had a conversation with my boss about this recently because he brought up a decent point. We were doing performance reviews, um, and we were setting ourselves goals for the coming year. And I had set myself some 100% achievable goals, like get more organized, be more social in terms of the company, be a little bit better about doing X, Y, and Z, right? Like 100% achievable things.
Yeah, objective check
And
offable things.
right. And because to my mind, you create goals to make them, to set them, right? Like you,
As a
you don't
checklist rather than to push yourself.
precisely. And it was an interesting kind of realization that that was what it was because I was talking to my boss and he's like, I'd like you to set some goals that you could fail at. Right? Like these are all things that you can do. I'd like you to set something that you could mess up.
Do you understand the reason why though for that? Because I know the exact reason already.
We all
I
do, I
mean,
think.
yeah. Like let's be clear. Like yes, it is important to be able to fail.
No,
And it's important to be.
I'm
Mhm.
sorry. I've
Oh no, please! If you think there's a further reason, I'm
We're
open
talking
to
about
hearing it.
growth.
one is
Yes.
about like failing, but also you need a push. Like you can't you like we as humans we need some stress to try
It's weightlifting.
basically.
You need to be able to. You can only grow by breaking first.
Sure.
Mhm.
And I think that having those goals set for yourself that allow you to fail is an important thing. Like, don't get me wrong. I think that he's absolutely right about it. But the reason that I bring it up in the first place is because I know for a fact that any previous letters that I had written to myself about the person that I want to be today are likely filled with achievable goals.
Mm.
So it's not going to be a thing where I would go back and look at them and say to myself, like, oh man, I really didn't hit that, because I almost guarantee you, knowing what I know about myself, everything in those letters is stuff that can be done.
It's funny. I think I had a flashback to like what I said to myself in that time capsule. I think I know myself. I feel it. I think they're gonna ask if I'm still single. I think
Perhaps.
one of the goals was like to not be single. Well, look where I am currently.
That's not a fair goal.
Yeah,
That sucks. What a stupid kid.
but I like asking myself funny things or like things that maybe may or may not. But it's just I don't know. I can feel myself asking that, and if I'm right, I will let you guys know in an update next year.
I think it's fair to say, okay, so I want to demonstrate that there is a difference between a goal and a desire,
Yeah, but
right? Like something that you want out of life. Like, because, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'd like to have someone, I'd like to, meet my fucking forever partner or whatever, if you're into monogamy the way that I am, right? I'd like to meet my person and be with that person, just already have that. I mean, I expected that to have already happened by how old I am. I guess I just expected to be further along in like most things, right?
hmm,
And I think that's part of the reason, like, why my most recent breakup hurt so much was that, like, this is, it was with someone who I wasn't necessarily with. I wasn't with them this whole time, but like, I'd known them since I was like 16, right?
hmm.
So I kind of thought that like that's just kind of the direction that was gonna go,
I was
and then when it wasn't, it's like you've built so much around that idea, and then that idea doesn't happen exactly the way you want it to, or when you want it to. That sucks.
Yeah.
Go on, DJ.
sorry. It's like my mind was gonna make this really dumb joke. Like, no, not technically all relationships are poly if you're not by yourself. Because like, what do you call just like, there are people who are just happy by themselves, and like, do you call that like a type of relationship? And then
I
like,
mean, no, that's not a real. You're not relating to anybody.
you're relating to yourself. Period.
No, that's not relating because you already know your own thoughts. I mean, there's something to be said about self love in like intrapersonal, not inter, but intrapersonal, like intelligence and understanding,
Mm,
and knowing what you want and knowing what you need and being able to give yourself those things. That is huge. If anything, that's possibly more important than any kind of interpersonal skills. Maybe not necessarily for survival, but like for for like happiness, definitely. And I
mm.
think that's where like all of like the focus on things like self love and self care comes from, is like trying to reconnect with that intrapersonal connection that so many people have kind of. It's like weird because people are so profoundly lonely nowadays, because not only have we lost that, hey, you should take care of yourself like aspect, right? Like that this is how you take care of yourself, like that's become like a lost art, but we've also kind of lost a lot of community.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, churches are not what they used to be in a lot of senses. Many of them exist almost entirely for profit, right? People don't necessarily like live with the people they work with or whatever. Some people don't even like work with anybody. Some people, like me, they work from home. So like community is much different than it used to be. Um, Everything is online or it's in like department stores. So like that commerce that used to be like, what used to be, let's go to the town square and like chat people up while we buy things, right? Like that doesn't exist anymore. Not really. Like it may be small scales in like really nice neighborhoods, but for most people that shit doesn't exist anymore.
Mm.
It's a very weird disconnect with which the modern world operates.
Howdy, Nappy. Welcome back. But
Yeah, because we doubled down on efficiency and didn't think about whether or not it was actually fucking good for us.
wait, there's a
True.
cactus over there.
You found cactus?
Oh, there's cactus
How
over
far
here.
did you go?
I'm just nearby. That's like literally at the other village, the village that
Oh,
we're
good.
standing at, because I guess somebody got it. And there's
Bring
just
some of that
One
as
of the
back.
key, one of the key problems with capitalism is it's very short-sighted.
True. I mean,
Not that I have an alternative, like I don't, but like that is one of the issues is that it thinks about growth and making green number go up and nothing else.
imagine one day someone changed the green number to going up being red and then going down as green. Like, could you?
Everyone fucking lose their minds.
Exact-
There'd be chaos. There'd be mass hysteria, cats and dogs living together. Just, I,
probably some people losing a lot of money.
Oof.
I mean, it is kind of weird how that, it's, from a graphic design perspective, that in itself is insanely tied to human nature. Like, the fact that with how we have created things to be, red means bad and green means good, is so inherently tied into the majority of things that we do in day-to-day life that changing
in
that and flipping
some
it would be
cultures.
like suddenly saying that up is down.
Yeah.
And that gravity no longer exists.
Yeah, if you make here's a little bit of game design advice for you folks out there. You make the fucking red icons the good guys, people will fucking hate you. Like, what are you talking about?
But what do you mean red is good? Doesn't make
Make it
any
blue or
sense.
green. Or
Honestly,
fucking
that might be
white
a
or
really
yellow.
fun game concept to make people angry. Like everything that we like visually like
There have
accept.
been games like that, yeah. Like people have intentionally done that for like as art projects, basically. But it's never anything more than that. In like a serious game, nobody would do that.
Oh, the game. It's not the same. And it's like everything's just weird.
Everything is
Yeah, no, but conventions are insane. Popular conventions are so powerful.
Instead of yellow being like slow, it should be purple.
That's it's such a really fun topic right there, Chaos. Just like the concept of like how much our human intuition has been shaped by just conditioning.
You know,
Sure.
this could also relate to the fact that like I remember what Chaos. Remember for your class, for the class of objects in everyday life. I think you wrote about the exit sign.
I did, yes.
Objects of everyday life affordances. That's a good book.
Like we were looking at everything like in that class. It was about like how it came to be, like and what its uses were. Like we've talked about the red delicious, but the apple itself. We've talked about pink flamingos, like the plastic ones. Do I remember exactly what happened there? No, because I didn't attend. Anyways.
I don't remember
Again,
any
we're
of
not
it
bitter.
either. I remember the
Fine.
important stuff. I remember you hold the handle, you hold a cup by its handle, and you push a push door and you pull a pull door. There is a not too far from me. There's a pizza place that's quite nice, but they have a push door that has a pull handle on it. And it
Oh,
pisses me off.
that is so unbelievably upsetting.
And they even have a sign on the front of the door that says push because and it's like taped on there because yeah. Oh, it
Angry
sucks.
making.
Yeah.
Why would you do? Why would you want?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that kind of breaking convention is a fascinating thing. Like I always find it amusing to think about the situations where like people subvert expectations to succeed in a task. I.e., like have you guys seen Men in Black?
Yeah.
No. I've seen like bits and pieces from when it re-aired, but that's it. Sorry.
All good. I mean, so the basic gist of what I'm getting at with this particular one is there is a scene at the very beginning where one of the characters needs to take a test, and if I'm remembering the correct movie, this may have been Kingsman. No, yes, I don't know.
Hold on.
I
Go ahead.
I believe it is this one wherein he needs to take the test. The table is too far away from the chairs, and so rather than sit
Men in
there
Black.
and
Yeah, Will
it's Men in
Smith.
Black. Yeah, rather than sit there and like scramble of trying to make this, terrible faux table work, he pulls the freaking thing toward him.
Yeah.
And it puts him already like on the up and up because he has taken the time to fix the problem rather than sitting there and dealing with it.
Yeah.
And I find those kind of solutions always amazing because it's that idea of like, I'm going to do something other than what is initially expected as my response to the situation.
And when it gets to the shooting gallery, same thing. But yeah, sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead. I
Oh,
love
well, I
that was a
mean,
good fucking movie.
it's a great movie. That's the whole point, right? Is that he subverts
Yeah.
expectation every single time and consistently pushes that envelope. But like, I don't know. I will forever be bitter about this particular incident. Back in middle school, my science teacher did an experiment with my class in like 6th grade that she called peanut butter and jelly. Did your science teachers ever do this with you?
No,
Sounds vaguely familiar. Describe
I've never seen this one, but
the process.
The experiment is thusly: you ask a class full of middle schoolers to write the exact steps for making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, descriptively, as physically possible. And then, like a couple of days later, once they've forgotten what it is that they wrote, you request that they all sit there and watch as you follow their instructions to the letter and try to make these sandwiches. And 9 times out of 10, the child will have forgotten to write "open the jar of peanut butter," right? So you sit there jabbing the knife into the lid of the peanut butter jar
It
as the
means they
entire
tell you
class
that's gonna be
groans.
it's done by the letter
actually, why does this sound
when
so
they tell you to
familiar?
write it.
It sounds really familiar for some reason. I don't know why this is bothering me that it sounds so familiar.
Okay, it's very important. This is a very important distinction. Do they tell you that they're going to be following the instructions by the letter?
So
When
they say, they tell you at the beginning, or at least I was told that what they say is that they're going to be following the instructions as closely as possible, right, descriptively.
Okay.
So like they tell you to be clear, but they don't necessarily like really hammer home how specific they're going to get.
That's such a I understand the purpose. There's much to be gained from that exercise, but there's a lot to be lost from that exercise. Go
Oh,
on,
for
sorry.
sure. Well, I mean, and up to and including, right, like your personal trust. And the point is that you, by the end, right, you are supposed to have learned a lesson about being incredibly clear and precise in your writings for working on experiments and describing processes and that kind of thing, because you need to do it perfectly. You cannot mess up and say that you're not supposed to do something when you need to do it, or else things are going to explode and people might die.
From a scientific perspective, that makes sense. From like a language and writing perspective, it's terrible.
Oh, absolutely. And what will grind my gears forever about this particular experiment is that I was not there on the day when everyone wrote the instructions, but I was there on the day that she showcased the results. And I will never, ever know if I would have been smart enough to figure it out. I will never know this thing, and it will forever bother me because the answer is probably no. I would not have been smart enough to write "open the jar," but there's part of me that thinks I would have. There's part of me that thinks that I would have been one of the only 2 students in the class to remember to say it and would have wound up with the sandwich.
I
And
probably would have because
I
I
will
was
never
thinking
know.
of like while you were describing this, I was thinking of like silly ways to introduce like silverware and say that like you could use a knife, but you may substitute any other silverware you choose. But a knife is recommended.
A
And
knife
like
is
adding dumb shit
recommended.
in there like that.
Two
Grasp the
things.
knife by the handle.
Firmly grasped.
So wait, Nappy, what was the outcome of you going super specific into details? Because you said you felt about the assignment. So how did that turn out? Because Vampy's was actually
God,
making a
paper
paper
plane.
plane. Also,
For sure.
Chaos in our Minecraft realm, like you go into like this acacia part, dry. Currently, and I cross over, rain. Just rain.
Perfect, like, break between the two.
Yeah, pretty much. What does it say? Oh,
Oh, Shaz. It is on the later side, isn't it? Hmm. I have not yet completed my interior, but I suppose I could do that next time.
Or you can go on for a little bit longer. It's up to you.
I do have some stuff I need to get done this evening. I could probably pull like 5 more minutes.
All right.
I need to figure out what to do with my interior because the thing that I am referencing uses something that is bigger than what I have.
And meanwhile, I'm just waiting for bamboo to grow, or to find more bamboo, but also trying to get these villagers traded. But I need to find another villager.
Sounds like
Frustrating.
it's going well.
It's a little frustrating. It's just time consuming. No one mind me watching stream breaking my knees. It's fine. I'm short. There's a reason.
Break your knees.
Homeboy is getting crossed up at the b-ball game.
I
His
don't.
ankles are snapped. His knees are broken.
I don't
It's
play no
just all sorts of
basketball.
things.
I play volleyball. And I got
My
smacked
name's
in the-
Ray.
How do you get crossed up in volleyball? That's the question.
You
Can
can.
you just
It's like
spike it real close?
so. Like if you get spiked on and you need to receive it, you could think it goes one way, but it goes the other direction.
It's like, haha, juked, stupid.
Because I mean, technically, within that split
ping pong
second, they can
method.
like change their mind of where to hit it. You could hit a line shot. You could hit like one of the other shots in the middle. You can just say, "Psych! I'm just gonna tip it over."
Oh, a little love tap.
Hit him with the
No,
sun.
it's called tipping. Like literally, you just like you push it over them a little bit, and then people have to like instead dive forward.
Mom. It's tipping. I don't know. There was a dumb joke in there somewhere.
Mm. And just the tip, they would say.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. I gave up, but DJ tried to like make the corpse dance.
Because I don't
No, rigor
dance.
mortis is already set in, guys.
Chaos, you got
Weekend at
a
Bernie's
bed?
is gonna work this time. What's up?
You got the bed?
Yes.
Well, at least it's stiff.
Heyo.
Heyo.
Hey. Oh boy, what is this supposed to even be? I don't even know what you're trying to do here.
Also, Chaos,
Got this whole thing you've set up.
we gotta figure out when
They,
you're
like,
gonna come
neuter
by
the-
next time because you still got your item, and that's like I don't know when you're ever gonna come by.
I will, I promise. It'll
Mm.
happen eventually.
Oh yeah, I feel like next time you come here, we should try.
What is that?
I feel like you should come with me to go to a place called Boba Tea.
I've heard of that place.
It was super
It
cute.
sounds pretty good.
I tried one of the Asian flavors of like pandan and mung bean, like buttermilk tea. I think the graininess of the mung bean is not for you, because like they'll like coat your throat and you're like, ugh. It's there.
Usually pass on that.
But the pandan, it's hard to describe a pandan flavor honestly, because like I'm like it's a coconut. It's not coconut, but it's like it's a leaf. It's a leaf.
Leaf?
Yeah, and it makes
Leaf?
everything super green.
Ah, leaf flavored leaf.
Damn.
Sure.
Green is my favorite color. No, it's not.
I've heard it's not creative.
Green is my favorite flavor.
I mean, green could be a creative color. You could still make other colors with green.
What color is my favorite flavor? That makes no sense. Why am I trying to get to the
No, no,
bottom?
no. You should say blue because it makes sense. Because you know we like blue raspberry apparently, or blue cherry. I mean, you
I
guys
feel
can say
like
white
red
cherry.
must be my. No, I don't know.
Why you don't know?
'Cause I like watermelon. That's kind of red. And I like lasagna. That's
No, but that's
red.
green, and it can also be
Oh,
yellow.
Red.
Watermelon can also be yellow, or orange.
Frickin'
And it's
lasagna.
not watermelon.
No,
It's just other types of melon.
no. There is yellow watermelon. God.
That sounds terrible.
No,
Sounds
it's-
un-American.
Turn 'em proud to be an American.
Hell yeah.
Why do you guys like this?
Sometimes people ask me what it's like to be a citizen of a dying nation, and I tell them, euphoric.
You don't know how good you have it.
It's wonderful.
It's kind of weird to have nationalist pride for America. Like, you know, on the one hand, like, sure, yeah, why not? On the other hand,
See, I think the difference is that like I have like a brand of like American like I guess like patriotism that does not exist anymore. So I'm just like not on anybody's side, and it's better that way.
Ironic patriotism. We love it.
It's like not even ironic. It's just like for ideals that like nobody actually follows, right? Like all that e pluribus unum bullshit that nobody ever actually took seriously.
Nappy, I heard the sound in my head, but the sound that I wanted to make was caw, and I was like, you guys are gonna make fun of me for saying caw instead of eagle screeches. uh,
Yeah, no, actually, you ever think about the fact that that eagle screech sound is actually a hawk?
Fucking
Oh.
hawk. Yeah.
lovely.
And that in itself is the most American thing I've ever heard.
Oh yeah, because I mean, bald eagles are sick, but they sound terrible.
Yeah, no, they do not sound like anything
What do
worthwhile.
eagles sound like?
Yeah, squonky.
Oh. Random thing,
Squonky little fellas.
Chaos.
With it.
One day I would like to go to a buffet and we could sit there for hours just to like chat and eat.
I mean,
It's been
I'm down.
so long since I've done that, if I'm being honest. Like, okay, growing up, my mom would take me to hometown buffet like way too often. And
Same.
like we just
Jay.
sit there and eat and sit and talk. What's up?
You are illustrating my point earlier so hard. You are fantasizing about how lovely it would be to be able to sit in the same room as someone you care about and share a meal with them. Wouldn't that just be incredible?
Well,
Like that
it's
is
more of
such
just
a
like sitting there
base
to eat
human
food
need,
for a
and it's
long
like
time.
a thing.
I mean, yeah.
And yet it seems so far away and so unattainable.
Well, it's because Chaos is busy, okay? And I'm poor.
I am a busy. The problem, of course, with buffets and me is that like it's never worth the money. I
Mhm.
do not eat enough to make it worthwhile to go to a buffet. And
What
like,
about like Chinese buffet?
I've never even been to Chinese buffet. And honestly, the vast majority of the reason for that is like most of the stuff that's going to be there is not stuff that I can probably eat. Which is not to say I would not enjoy it. I would probably have a good time, but it's like if I'm going to pay a certain quantity of money to go to like all you can eat sushi, then it's like not really worth the money because like I can't do shellfish, and like what is the point of going to all you can eat sushi if like 90% of the stuff there is going to be like full of crab or shrimp?
A lot of tuna.
But yeah, that's just, it's a thing that I don't know. I want to do it for nostalgia's sake, but I also just want to eat an enormous amount of food to be worth my money. Because I can pack it down in a while.
Oh yeah, no, you are a garbage disposal.
Thanks.
I mean that in the best way.
He's the trash man.
Trash man.
No, like back when we went to like the dining comments, I think I would sometimes be able to eat 5 plates or three to five.
You could usually pack it down, which is impressive because you are not a large human.
I absolutely unhinge my jaw as well. I just swallow things.
Like
Oh.
a snake.
I can't do that.
Nice whole pizza, and I just go.
I can't do that.
Like
Therefore,
Scooby Doo. Like
therefore, we flashback scene. So when one of our college friends made me laugh and then like antagonized me and I couldn't stop laughing and then I fell in the salad bar. I probably
fell into a salad bar.
I didn't fall into the salad bar. I went over the salad bar and slowly
Falling
fell
into
down.
the salad bar.
That's pretty funny too.
He fell down next to the salad bar, and it was still very funny.
Yeah, no, I was trying to go away because the friend was antagonizing me to laugh because like, oh really now, DJ? Oh really now? Like now you know what it's like when every time you try to talk to me, I'm about to swallow a pill, and then like because like every now and then I would interrupt him when they're like in the middle of something, and it's just like, then like but yeah, I just couldn't help it. I think I was choking on cereal that day. I think it
Like
was.
that
I
effect.
think it was cereal, and like I just couldn't stop laughing, and I couldn't swallow it down. So then like I like progressively tried to walk away,
That's
but
what she said.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
Sorry.
But I was trying to walk away, but they were still like joking me. So like I was holding onto the railing at the salad bar, and I was just like slowly falling in laughter until I was just down on the floor, dead.
You deserved it, but like,
Oh,
It was against the kitchen floor.
no. I mean, you could. I have no idea. It was very funny though. I enjoyed watching it, and I mean that in like the most loving sense.
We have gone through a lot of scenarios, and I feel like there's gonna be more to come as life goes on.
Hopefully. I like having scenarios.
Yeah, the scenarios are pretty important.
Pretty good.
Hey,
Keep
I
them
was the
alive.
hottest boss mermaid in the dorm.
And then you got stabbed.
That's right, because there was a scratch hole that, yeah. I didn't get actually stabbed, Kabu. We should probably like iterate this real quick.
No, I'm sorry. I for whatever reason, I feel like that would have had a greater effect on you. Getting stabbed is usually a bit of
You know,
a changer in one's demeanor and
it's a
worldview.
canon event.
It is a canon event.
DJ getting casually stabbed. Don't mind it.
Mhm.
I still have photos of that.
Same, 'cause
Solid
we
day.
had a photo of that. We also did Dormsgiving, and I remember that was like a whole other thing. Or
And we
Friendsgiving.
burned the crap out of the pretzels.
No, we didn't do it. One of us was in charge of it, and then never went to get it. We could have burned our dorm down that day. A reminder: cooking for
And I
too many people
still
is
want
difficult when you're doing mostly by yourself. Uh,
doop doop. Doop doop. Frick. I messed up. That's not what I wanted to do. Doop doop. And doop. Okay, fine. That's fine. It's the one that's different. It doesn't bother me. It bothers me a lot, and that one's still green. I think I need to go to bed.
That's fair.
what is sleep over for for someone who?
It's a healthy thing.
Oh,
Yeah, I would say so. It's like 1:15 here.
Oh, geez. You definitely need some sleep. I mean, with all due respect, I assume that you are perfectly awake, but
With peace and love.
respectfully, brother, get some sleep.
I need this bamboo to grow faster.
Well, hear me out. If we call it a night, then by the time you get back,
No, it actually doesn't
it
work
will
like
be
that.
grown.
It's only if someone's around like the section.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Really?
Sure.
I don't
It's
think
like,
it works that way. I don't think anything in Minecraft works that way.
That's actually how it is when it comes to like realms and stuff. Like if you're not on, time doesn't continue, or like if you're not
I mean,
with
what kind of server is it?
it's a realm from you know Microsoft.
Is it a dedicated server?
How do I describe a realm? Yes, you pay like a monthly subscription for like the
I mean, do you have to boot it up or is it online all the time?
online all the time, but if no one's on it, time is still.
I see.
And so like it's the same thing with like chunks. Like you don't want to load all the chunks because like it gets super laggy after like a certain period of time.
Gotcha.
And
So
just like
they have a cool mechanism for pausing it.
Mhm. But
going to
chaos,
look.
for your own sake, we should probably call this for the night,
Yes,
and
I should
we can
sleep.
always play next time,
Yep.
or whenever you feel like hopping on. 'Cause I've been like hopping on every now and then on and off because like last night I was actually going caving, and I was like, really afraid because I was like, this cave is so deep. There's too much. No. Oh, hello, creeper. Ah, no, creepers. And then lava, and then I still haven't died or anything, but it's just like it was a
Good.
lot to deal with. Oh, there was also an Enderman inside the gravel. Like its head was just popping out. I took a screenshot.
Fun.
It was funny.
We love frienderman
Enderman.
and
I didn't stare
frienders.
at him in the eyes or anything, but
Friendlyman.
yeah. Well, I would say that's it for tonight. Thank you, Nampi, for joining us. Thank you, Kavu, for being a voice of, I wouldn't say reason, but being a voice.
I mean, a voice of reason, but like not necessarily when that's needed to, dissuade any unreasonable behavior.
Mm, mm. And thank you,
All right.
Chaos, for, joining me as per usual on Thursdays, unless, you won't be here, which will be next week.
Yes,
Well,
next
I'll
week
figure
is
out something to play next week. I don't know what. We're gonna play something. Actually, I know what I'm gonna play. What am I saying? I'm silly. But
Is it
yeah.
a secret?
Is it Victoria's Secret? I'm not
Maybe
Victorious,
she's
so.
born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline.
No. Victoria's Secret, I think the joke was that Victoria is. Anyways, potato.
So- Right then.
Well, if you see us on YouTube, thank you for watching. And if you want to see us live, you can always come by Thursdays on Twitch from 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Pacific time zone. Sometimes we go a little bit longer, and sometimes we start later, and sometimes we start earlier, depending on what happens. Because starting on time is a thing. But yeah, this is DjDoubleT out and about. So have a good time zone and do.